Yes, all comms are ready, and I should have a little clapperboard, really, shouldn't I?
That's it.
Yeah. Bonjour, Team hogCAST.
Bonjour, bonjour. Team Hog.
Team Hog, but I want to start it off with
Excuse me.
Team Spud.
Team Spud.
And just for the just to round it off.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Where is coat?
For next time you beam down, Liz.
Nice one, man.
That's going to be really baggy on his little slim lizard physique, isn't it?
That's the smallest they did.
But guys, I think the exciting news is the former twats, the Right Advice team, with their new ventures. What I want to do before we start getting into it, and I know you're going to be embarrassed, you too, but but talk to us about, go full promo on your new channels, what you're going to be doing, what you're excited about doing, and what any viewers that might be watching this, like the hoglets, the hoglets, I affectionately call them, might be intrigued. Come on, sell yourself. Come on, sell it. Who wants to kick off out of the twats?
Go ahead, Randy.
No.
Oh no, you first. Thanks.
Go on, Randy. Come, go for it. You're never shy at this, Randy. Your D&D review was good, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You actually made me want to watch it.
I'm sorry?
You actually made me want to watch the film, which was shocking.
That's why he said, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's all kicking off. We're only 5 minutes in.
And we're going to talk about that later, right? I imagine that I probably got a take on it that the majority of you are going to disagree. On that seems to be the situation all the time. I kind of be the outlier against what your guys' opinion on most of the stuff. So that's weird. I think that's why
you're still here, Randy.
That's what I suspected. All right. So
I like to be challenged every now and again. I have been married for a while, so anyway, that's a story for another day.
So what I got going on so I've got a couple of channels. I've got one channel for the Kicks comics, and that's kind of been on hold. We've been looking for voice talent for our main superhero, but I don't call them superheroes. I call them metastars. So we're still looking for that voice, and as soon as
I thought you had that sorted though. No,
we wanted, but we are not getting any response from his agent.
He was aiming for Warwick, wasn't you?
Yeah, we wanted Warwick. I so would have loved to have Warwick do that, but that didn't happen.
Just get a Warwick tribute act.
I'll tell you what we did. We made a poster based on the character design. Oh no, I'm sorry, the cover for issue 1.
Yeah.
And we put starring Warwick Davis, and that cover has Justice up front, and he's like running fast, and in the background, Lawboy, who's actually the main character, he's running to try to catch up with him. Anyway, so we put that, and we added starring Warwick Davis. We thought maybe that might, and my buddy that works on this with me, he's got a very interesting story. So back in the day, and he tells it all the time, back in the day, he was approached by a young artist, creator, and he said, I've got this idea. And so my buddy Paul, he's like, oh, I don't know. I think I'm going to pass on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, shut up.
Yeah. Oh. So he had a shot at it, and he uses that all the time when he talks. He's like, you never know what person coming up has got an idea, and sometimes you just got to take a chance, even though they're an unknown, because
who was he approached by, Randy? Laird or Eastman?
I don't think it was Eastman. Who was the other one?
Laird.
Yeah, I think it was him. Yeah. And he turned it down. And wow, he made a ton of money. And so he definitely goes out and he pitches it. And I would kind of say to everyone, I think, take a chance on me, because maybe this might break loose. I think as an independent, it's got a different storyline. I think it'll be enjoyable. It will be a lot of fun, and I have a ton already written for it. So it's not like I've got like this one issue and I'm going to be done. I don't know where to go from it. No, I've got spin-offs planned. I've got like 8 graphic novels planned for the main storyline. I am very prolific. I will never.
Nothing like planning ahead.
That's just me naturally. I come up with ideas all the time. I will never run out of ideas, and the ideas remain fresh. It's not like I've got one and I'm just going to hit the same storyline with minor variations on it all the time. I'm always coming up with very original storylines. So
we'll be the judge of that, though, Randy. We'll be the judge of that when we start reading it.
You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm sure you're going to go like, dang, yeah, Randy is pretty original on his stories. So I have no worries about that. So I'm getting ready to...
The other channel, what are you doing with that? Because you seem to be... I think we overused the word straddling. I think we used me and Tayters was using the word straddling the other day.
Okay.
And, your second channel seems to straddle between doing straight film reviews and the writing challenges on one channel. Why is that?
Okay, the movie reviews are just more like an afterthought. I mean, my channel is meant to be focused on writing. All right, and I'm really just starting to launch with the playlist where I'm going to be doing memoirs, helping people tell their stories. And everyone has a good story. Everyone has a great story that should be shared, and sometimes it's really difficult to do that. If you're just an average person, like where do I start? How do I do that?
Well,
right?
I've got a question for you, Randy, on that, because I answered your questionnaire on.
Oh, okay.
And I answered memoirs. No,
okay.
No, I answered memoirs was one of the ones in there, and I bottled out, and I put the non-fiction.
Creative nonfiction.
Non-fiction, right.
Hog, was that your memoirs?
Yeah, but do you know what, Tayters?
That's a confession, though, isn't it, really?
This is what I'm getting to. This is
Confessions of a hog.
This is
Confessions of a hog.
This is my serious question for Randy. Like,
okay,
you've got kids. I've got kids. Like, one is 20. Do you want them reading your memoirs? And the wife, like.
That's a good question.
How up to date are you going to make these memoirs? Like,
okay, and I have one out called The Milkman's Son, a memoir. And that's really what got me started on wanting to teach. I mean, I've been teaching writing stuff for quite a while, but I did this memoir, and then I kind of switched over to wanting to teach about how to write memoirs and creative nonfiction. And the difference, for those who don't know, so a memoir can be creative nonfiction if you're writing family stories. What that means is you're taking facts, generally historical facts, and then you're adding fictional elements to it. So for instance, I've got a family line, the McCords, and they have this, I mean, we would make a great story. They are there here in the United States for the French and Indian War. They're captured by the Indians. They're taken, they live with the Indians for about a year and a half.
Call them that. Listen, over here, Randy, we're told we can't call them that anymore.
Native Americans. Okay. Native Americans. I'm okay with that.
I've read it.
All right.
I've read it. I've got tomorrow is wasting.
Okay. But the point is, they have this incredible adventure, right? They get traded back to the French send them back over to England to prisoner swap. They end up back in the United States in time, and it wasn't the United States then. So they arrived back in the colonies in time for the Revolutionary War, right? So there's a lot of really exciting stuff, and I can do research, and I can find out the kinds of things they ate, what kinds of things they wore, the kinds of things they were likely to have seen. But I don't know what goes on in their mind. So creative nonfiction is you take something like that and you do your best to write a story in that, but you're making up the stuff. You don't know if they talk to, Bob the Smith or whatever, but you make that up because that is likely something that they would have done. So that's where creative nonfiction comes in, is you are supplying some details and a story to historical facts. So that's kind of the difference between that and memoir.
There's a great comic that came out a little while ago called Earth Divers. And
okay.
It's about a time traveler it's about this group of time travelers, and they're Native Americans, and one of them goes back to assassinate Columbus on his journey
Okay.
on the boat, and it's about him being, and it's so you can tell that they've researched the historical accuracy of it, because there's all these different boats, but he's not on the one with Columbus on it.
Okay.
You know, the adventure ensues from there. But anyway,
it's a great thing, and especially if you've got some family history that you've done, some genealogy, and you'd like to kind of bring that to life. This is a great way to do it, because it's boring to just write, I don't know, so-and-so was born this day in this country, in this city, and all that. People aren't going to want to read that. If you want people to know about your family, I really highly suggest you practice some creative nonfiction and write about them. So anyways, back to your question, that's really where my love is on the channel.
Yep.
If I see a movie and I think it's a great movie, I'm like, I'm just going to do a review. So I've been tossing in the reviews just because why waste the movie experience? If I enjoy the movie, I'm going to post review. And that's the name of it. The segment is Good Views. So I'm only doing reviews on movies that I felt were pretty good.
Oh, you know what? It's so much better doing reviews of the stuff that's shit. And there's so much of it about. Randy, you could be doing 18 videos a week, mate, like me. There's so much shit. And you've only got one subscription. One subscription, everything they put out, I'm not going to mention them. And you're made for life, mate. Just mocking it.
Okay, you know what you say is true. But I had to look at myself, and I have to.
I know. I am only joshing. I
know.
I actually started my channel. That's why my little happy place on my channel is the comics stuff. The comics, I only buy the comics that I want to. I still purchase them. The shop doesn't say, take one of every copy. I haven't even asked, because I don't just want it to be hold up a cover and just rattle off a little paragraph of what the story is. I want it to be 6 comics that I've enjoyed. Every now and again, I veer off into a little bit of criticism. But other than, keep it at that, mate. Keep it at that. But what I've also found intriguing, is where you two were doing the right advice, which I found your dynamic was good. But obviously, you've decided to do your own different things. Was how different your two styles are. So from what you're doing the writing bit, and I get that, because you're an author and that. But Amber, your channel, come on.
Oh, okay. So I have 2 channels.
Yeah. So you've got to. What is it with the multi-channels we used to?
Well, I wanted to.
Channel. What is it? The Sword and the Pen.
Yeah, the Sword and the Pen, and then the Sword and the Pen Reflections. The Sword and the Pen is strictly video essays about storytelling. And I wanted to take some of the more common subjects, but look at them from a different perspective, or give maybe a different take on them. I've, as an editor, and I edit at all levels, so everything from developmental to final proofread. One of my favorite things to do is the developmental edit, and that is where somebody hands you a story and you go through it and try to help them figure out how to tell their story in possibly a better way, but mainly you're just offering an alternative way. And that sometimes gets ideas flowing in my head. For instance, I have a video up on Game of Thrones. Why was the Game of Thrones audience so huge? I mean, people who never watch fantasy were watching Game of Thrones like it was the best thing that they'd ever seen.
Because you threw up a load of questions that made me think, like, why was that so? I don't want to use the word groundbreaking.
It was, though.
Do you think?
I mean, have you ever heard of a fantasy epic being played in bars? Like the final season, the episodes were being played in the bars here, and the bars were packed. People were there to watch the finale together.
This is where I found it interesting, because the only other time I could think of where it crossed over, where something genre crossed over, was the X-Files.
Okay, yeah, I could see X-Files. I was going to say Star Wars possibly, because a lot of people really like Star Wars.
Plenty to say about. Let's not talk about that.
Okay.
We've got to. I think we've got to brace ourselves tonight.
Yeah, I will save the Star Wars for later.
But no, I mean, as a TV, no, I'm talking about TV.
Oh, okay, TV. Yeah, I don't know.
Week after week, I thought the only other big one, really, as the actress said to the bishop, was the X-Files.
Yeah, I think that
really crossed over and become a what's the buzzword they use, like a cultural phenomenon or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so your take on Game of Thrones was really interesting, I thought.
Yeah, and I want, that's just a small example of some of the things I'm looking at. Another thing I'm looking at for my next video coming up, which I'll be putting out videos. The goal is 2 per month on that channel. Yeah. The other one, the goal is, I mean, honestly, it's just whenever I see something. So real quick, the distinction between the Sword and the Pen and the Sword and the Pen Reflections is Sword and the Pen is formal. This is where I put a lot of effort and time into the videos, and they are structured essays. But the Sword and the Pen Reflections, I'll just sit in front of the camera and talk about a movie or TV show that I've watched. The only formal thing I'm doing on the Reflections is I'm looking at Shadow and Bone, that series, the book and the show. And I've never read the book, I've never watched the show, but I'm reading it and watching it at the same time right now, and just comparing the two and seeing how did the writer, because the writer's involved in both of them, how did she improve the show? Because the show is, from what everyone has told me, significantly better than the book, which is a unique thing to have happen to a book. You know, usually it gets turned into a movie or a show and people go, they ruined it, or they left out something really important. But the consensus is that the show is so significantly better than the book that people might as well not even read the book. The show is just so much better. So that's what I'm doing right now, is exploring some of the changes that were made. Now on the formal channel, the video I'm doing next, hopefully to come out the end of next week, is I'm exploring the reprehensible and despicable characters that we love, like Michael Scott from The Office, which this would be the US version of The Office. I have seen the British version and it's hilarious, but I'm more familiar. Huh?
He's my hero.
Oh, I know, but he should be reprehensible. People should look at this character. I mean, today, a lot of people, I think, would look at him and say, oh, he's unforgivable. But I think most people who are familiar with the show really love this character. And then there's another show called Arrested Development, and it's the same type of humor, same thing. You've got characters who we should be disgusted with them and despise them, and yet we love them. And I kept thinking about Velma, and aren't they kind of going for a similar thing? This is supposed to be a character who we despise, but we end up loving her, and they just failed. So it made me think about these other characters.
I think the difference is honesty.
Yeah.
The characters in Arrested Development and in The Office, they're honest representations of people in real life. They are so honest, it hurts.
I think also they recognize that people are human. That
yes, where Velma is just shit. It's just no.
Yeah,
it's an honesty. I think right. And that's what hurt. That's why sometimes good comedy can be quite touching. It can be tragic. Sometimes it kind of.
That word right there, tragic, you just hit what I believe to be the nail on the head, is that there is something pathetic about these characters. Not pathetic in a way that we go, oh, like, oh, you loser, but we kind of feel sorry for them. There's something about them that we pity.
The scene in the Office where he's invited them round his house and he's got the TV, he's got his little TV on the wall and
that might be my family's favorite scene.
It made me cry because the wife is obviously not letting him do anything in the house, and he thinks it's a massive victory to have this tiny little TV, sound wide screen and all that. And I was just crying. That's me.
To me, the sad one was when he shows the video of himself as a child on that kids show. It's kind of like Mr. Rogers, and the question that they ask him, "Why do you want children?" I want 1,000 children so that I can have 1,000 friends, and they all have to love me. It's so sad. It's just heartbreaking.
One of my favorite episodes is when he tries to make the film.
when he makes the film.
Oh,
That's
yes. Oh, yes. What was that one? It was Scarn, wasn't it? Michael Scarn or something. I forget what they named it. Oh my gosh, so funny.
Yeah.
Right, hilarious.
But so I'm pleased for you, you know, without being, you know what I'm like, but I'm being serious when I say I'm pleased for you both and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And I will put the links up for everyone for all of the channels you've just been talking about.
Sorry. I guess there's 4 between the two of us.
It can't just be one each, can it? All the channels will be somewhere. Right, Liz, what do you want to kick us off with? Because you've been doing some homework. He's had a couple of days off from the space station duties. Tell you what, he's been going for it in research wise. What do you want to kick it off with, Liz?
I think we've got to go Mando, episode 6 and 7.
Do we have to?
And Tayters, the floor is yours.
No, Liz, go. You the one been doing the research. You go.
Episode 6, absolutely shocking. Another side quest. That episode was literally like an episode of Scooby-Doo put in the middle of it. It was absolutely horrendous. Yeah, it was horrendous. You had Jack Black, Lizzo. They even tried to tarnish Christopher Lloyd's amazing reputation.
Everybody freeze.
Yeah.
That episode could have been literally, they land, they go straight to the Mandalorians, she fights Axe, and then that's it, done.
Yeah, that should have been.
The excuse they try and use, so when she goes and talks to Jack Black, and they go, yeah, then Mandalorians aren't allowed inside the dome because they're all their weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
Then she goes, and then he goes, well, you guys are allowed in the dome because weapons and armor is part of your culture. So same as them lot on the outside. Like,
the other Mandalorians.
But they don't forget
that they've got an army of Mandalorians.
Liz, they're the naughty Mandalorians.
You've literally got an army of Mandalorians outside the dome that could have come in and sorted this problem out for you.
Oh, they're not Mandalorians.
And to be fair, the handover of the Darksaber was a bit lame as well. I mean, if Din had sussed this, that the robot in episode 2 had beaten him, then she had beaten the robot, then that means she's the rightful owner of the Darksaber.
He should have handed it over sooner, yeah.
Yeah, why has he waited till now? It's shocking.
You know I've got a problem with that Darksaber.
Go on.
Yeah.
What's your problem, Tate?
There's no rightful owner.
Right, thank you. Yes. Yeah, if you go by Creed and Creed alone.
What, Creed on Navarro?
Yes. If you go by Creed, as in the Mandalorian Creed,
yeah, you
have to win the Darksaber to have the right to own the Darksaber to be Mandalore. Okay? Right. Pre-Vizsla in Clone Wars was beaten by Maul. Maul became Mandalore. Maul owned the Darksaber.
Yes.
The person who beat Maul was Obi-Wan. Right? Killed him. He won the right to have the Darksaber.
Temporarily though, because he come back with robot legs, didn't he?
Yes, I'm talking about after that, when he actually finally killed him.
Again?
Yeah, second time round he did it properly. But yeah, so what I'm saying, so technically he had the right to the Darksaber, and then we go all the way forward to episode 4, 1977. He's killed by Darth Vader. Darth Vader then technically has the right to own the Darksaber. Yeah. And then on Jedi, he kills himself by dumping the Emperor.
Yeah.
Nobody beat Anakin Skywalker or Darth Vader, however you want to call that. So if you're going to go by what the Creed says, nobody can own that Darksaber anymore.
And I think what we're talking about here is...
I know that's a bit of a deep dive, but...
No, it's a relevant deep dive because this is exactly what is tying up the people, and they're all well-intentioned, but they are tying themselves up in knots with this shit. And because it's so crap, because what they're doing is so crap, we're all focusing on details. If that was the one detail that was lost in the Mandalorian season 3, right? Who should have the Darksaber? If this was an awesome series 3 and it was moving along and rocking along, that one plot hole, we'd be going,
Yeah.
The rest of it is awesome.
Yeah.
It's not exactly like the Arthurian legend where whoever can pull the sword out of the stone is the one.
Yeah.
Or whoever wields Malignor is worth.
It's full, yeah.
Whoever has the shield is captain, you know.
Yeah.
But regardless, episode 6 was shit.
That's probably a week.
Brief review.
Brief review. Episode 6 was shit. Episode 7, however.
But hang on. Episode 6.
interesting.
I don't know where they got the idea to change the aesthetic in episode 6. It just did not match anything. I can't remember any part of Star Wars anywhere that looked like that.
I thought that was a prequel trilogy. I thought that was like, in all their nice dresses.
But even the prequel trilogy, you could still see it was Star Wars. It was all fancy, but you could see it was Star Wars.
I mean, what did we get? We got Christopher Lloyd going, "You pesky kids."
I'm saying you should be happy.
We got Lizzo going.
Space Lizzo. We got Space Lizzo.
Oh, why didn't I pick up on that earlier?
But you got Lizzo playing croquet with Grogu. You got Jack Black just being Jack Black.
That's it.
And it was horrendous. Episode 7, however. So me and Hog had a phone call. So before he put up,
imagine that was so much fun.
Well, before he put up his review, I just said, right, I'm going to go. I'm going to say it. That's the best episode of the season so far.
And
I said, because it moves the story forwards, and I picked up on problems, but it didn't bother me as much as what the other episodes have. Then I watched his review and I watched the episode again and ended up hating it because I just had him in my head pointing out all the things. I mean, the IG, and I predicted this ages ago on one of the hogCAST. I predicted that the story will be Bo-Katan gets the Darksaber. They've got to unite all the Mandalorians, and he'll go back to Navarro, and a gift to him will be IG-11. I didn't even predict the stupidity though of putting Grogu in that armor. Going yes, no. It was horrendous. And then my main issue with that episode was at the end. So they're obviously going into a trap. The door shuts. Mando's stuck there. You've got a couple of other Mandalorians that get buggered off straight away. He gets captured. You've got Grogu that's basically got his father figure just been captured, and Grogu has been shown he's put a Rancor to sleep. He's been shown that he can use the Force. He just sits there and his ears go down, his eyes look all sad. And then you got Bo-Katan, standing there, and everyone else is just standing there. They do a couple of shots and they're just standing there watching. That scene, whilst Moff Gideon's doing his dialogue, and that actor, Giancarlo, he's a great actor, and even the worst of dialogue he can pretty much pull off because he's got that gravitas to him. Like even when he, like you pointed out, Hog, when he says we should stop meeting like this, the way he delivers it, he actually delivers it so it's almost passable. But what would have made that scene so much better is, you know, Grogu's trying to use the Force, but he's not strong enough to get that door open. Bo-Katan's trying to stab through the door with the Darksaber, trying to get through to Din Djarin before he gets taken away. And then just build up that tension. So when the door opens and the big dude sacrifices himself. I just don't understand why they'll just stand there doing nothing.
It requires doing several different things at once, storytelling.
I must admit, though, the highlight for me was the Praetorian Guards at the end.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that bit.
Yeah.
That was a cool 90 seconds.
Yeah.
At that point, though, I felt like they're doing this to try to save the episode. Like for me, that's what that represented was, let's put in something in here so cool that people will be excited that this is happening. And yeah, that'll save everything. This whole show has felt like an afterthought for me. It feels like somebody just like quickly scribbling notes on their, their notepad next to their bed when they're like, oh shoot, I got to go in and film another Star Wars episode. Let's just do this. Okay. I mean, it feels so sloppy. And
again, what will look cool? Like in that last episode, it looks so cool. After the probe droid has sent the hologram to Shortback and Sides, and she's like walking through the dark alleyways of Coruscant. And I was laughing. I was thinking, what is she like? Ooh, is someone after her? She works in the requisitions department. They've told us this.
Yep.
She works for the manager of the requisitions, but she's creeping around Coruscant. And it reminded me of an episode of Sesame Street, right? Ernie, I don't know if anyone else remembers this. Ernie, there's this character called, I think he's called Lenny, and he's got a hat and he's got a coat.
Oh, and he's the noir character. Yeah. Okay.
He goes, "Hey, come over here. I've got an 8." And Ernie goes, "You've got an 8?" And he goes, "Shush, shush, 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 shush." And there's no one there. There's no one around. I'm in Sesame Street as Short Back and Sides is wandering around Coruscant, and then it's all quiet, and she's wandered into the fourth dark alleyway with no one around. And then this pro droid goes, it's got this scanner at the front going,
see,
and she's looking behind her going, oh, like Lenny from.
I hope no one notices.
We're still being quiet.
but the
that's the
weird
first 2 minutes.
What the crazy thing with this season is, so if you included the 3 episodes of Boba Fett, so where he makes his N1 starfighter, where you see the Luke cameo, and then where they're fighting in Mos Eisley, you've got those 3 episodes there. Then you go into the opener of season 3, which if you've watched those, you don't need that opener at all. The only thing it sets up is that he wants IG-11, which he totally forgets about until Grief Karga gives it back, gives it to him as a gift. Episode 2 is relevant. Episode 3, the beginning and end are relevant, but the middle bit could have been peppered in along all the other episodes. Episode 4 with the old pterodactyl, totally irrelevant. You could get rid of that straight away.
Unless those pterodactyls come back.
Yes.
And they're like a big weapon, they're going to ride them into battle.
Oh, God, it's going to be like
but they better be an important part of that battle.
Oh, it's going to be a scene. It's going to be a scene from Avatar, isn't it?
Yes, that's what I've been thinking when I saw those. I was like, here we go.
But then episode 5, okay, you got the fight with the pirates. All right, okay, you sort of keep a bit of that in. Episode 6, pretty much can get rid of the whole lot by the last 5 minutes. Really, we've got 4 episodes at most with this season so far, and this is episode 7, and the reason I'm being a bit more lenient on episode 7 is because it actually had something to do with the actual story moving forwards. It wasn't a side quest. Yeah. That's why I think it's probably the better episodes of the season. It ended on a somber note as well. It has made me intrigued to see what's going to happen next. But fundamentally, the episode was still flawed. Yeah. And like I say, if you get rid of the waste, 4 episodes max you've got at the moment. And that's if we're being lenient with it. And that's not even getting rid of some of the stupid stuff either. Like, don't forget, he's still drowned. If it wasn't for Bo-Katan, he would have just drowned once he got to the end of that mission.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, all the writing is going to Ahsoka. I think that Ahsoka, I think we talked about this in the last hogCAST. The more I've been reading about it, that is where all of the Star Wars effort is going right now.
The most interesting thing is that this is the first episode of the season, episode 7, where it's not solely Favreau writing. It's Favreau and Filoni. So it's like he's just come back in at the end of the season. It's like, John, you go over there, mate. I'm dealing with all the important stuff over here. You just keep it going, and I'll come back and help you with the last 2 episodes. That's literally all it is. It's pathetic, to be honest.
And you do, John. You're good at walking, but let me do the talking. And he goes, Dave, to be fair, mate, I do a good walk, you do the good talk. So should we do some lovely, lovely walking and talking and tell a story? It's like, I know this will be lost on our US team members. There was a program called Jack and Ori, right, for children in the UK. You would get a celebrity read a book for children. It's on the children's channels. And they would literally read a book. This is what
it was audible for the 80s.
This is what Dismal Miners do. They have got to tell us. It's so obvious they want to promote some intrigue with Mandalore. We all know that. but they have to keep telling us, oh my God, we've made you believe it was poisoned in the purge, in the air. And they keep telling us. They don't show us. They don't have Mandalorian crash land and his helmet's cracked and he thinks, oh my God, he can't breathe and the cockpit's broken. No, they have to have him travel. They have to have him spend an episode finding a robot that can sense the poisonous gases. There's no oomph. There's no momentum.
But wouldn't they have that built into their ship?
For Flash Gordon, at least Flash Gordon in the 30s, every episode for 20 minutes, he was crash landing on planets and fighting monsters and grabbing hold of the bird and saying, you know, stand behind me, darling. You know, I'm going to sort this out. It was.
You know what they could have?
It just rocked and rolled.
But don't they have this, like the sensors for atmosphere? Surely that's built into the ships at this point.
Yeah, but
like, that would be built in.
A tiny point. What I mean is to carry this, to impart the information they want to carry this story along, to let us know how dangerous it's perceived to be on Mandalorian.
Well, it is dangerous.
They've done it in such a more dynamic way, other than traveling to a point in the story.
Well, they could have made this. They could have made the reuniting of Mandalore more important by making it necessary in some way. So I'm not as familiar with the lore as everybody else, but I'm following as best I can. And I'm seeing, let's reunite Mandalore, like all the Mandalorians, bring them all back together and retake our planet. Well, who's occupying the planet, for one? And two, what's the urgency? Why are we doing, like, why can't we just take the next 10 years to reunite the Mandalorians and bring them back to Mandalore? So have some reason, like they're going to be wiped out. Like maybe the Empire has decided that the Mandalorians are the biggest threat to their coming back into power. So what they're doing is they're hunting down these little individual sects, and they're wiping them out.
And that's Moff Gideon.
Yeah. So why? But we haven't seen this. We haven't seen him.
But he suited the Empire to keep the Mandalorians split, to keep them in their little factions. But
so why haven't we seen, like, why haven't we seen Din Djarin and the others coming across? This was supposed to be like I'm going to say siege because I've got Dune on the mind, but you know, why were they, you know, wiped out? Like, who did this? And trying to figure out who's wiping out these little individual independent pods of Mandalorians. And then you've got, then you can have Din Djarin and what's her face? The queen, the new princess of Mandalore.
Bo-Katan.
So like, wow, somebody's hunting us down one at a time. And it seems to be like they're so powerful that the only way we could possibly prevent our being wiped out is if we reunite. And then there's urgency to go and get everybody,
intense,
bring them together.
You say urgency, momentum.
There's zero urgency.
Walking to the next scene.
I felt sorry for the guys that were left behind on Mandalore that just turn up on that barge.
Yeah, where have they been all this time? Why didn't they leave?
They literally turn up on the barge and go, "You're all right. Like, we thought you was going to come back at some point.
Do you have any food?
But it's okay. We'll show you the way, but we'll take you straight into a monster.
We need to find Great Fall. We can take you there.
And we can't drive around. We can't drive around the monster. We must keep going.
Surely if they've been there all that time, they know there's a bloody monster. And what is it with all the monsters now?
We'd be doing this if there was some momentum to it.
Yeah, but what's with all the monsters now, man? We've had
Tayters very quiet.
Contrived obstacles.
We've had rancors, we've had mythosaurs, we've had pterodactyls, we've had space crocodiles. We've had the lot now, man. It's going to be like an episode of Pacific Rim coming up soon. All the robots versus the guys.
Come on, Team Spud. Team Spud, you must have something to say. You've got to counter all this, surely.
No, I listen to everybody.
Yeah,
I listen to everybody. It's everything everybody says makes sense. Again, going back, knowing the.
Have you enjoyed the last 2 episodes?
The last 2, no.
They've been poo for you as well.
The episode 6 was terrible. Episode 6 was really bad.
Yeah.
7 not so bad. It was, like Liz said, it was okay. It moved the story forward. There was no side quest to it. Just wasn't handled in the correct way. That's all.
If that was an episode 2,
Yeah, you could forgive it. Yeah.
And it was setting up.
Yeah.
Setting all this stuff up.
See, that's the thing. You just hit the nail on the head. It seems like they're still setting stuff up.
Yeah.
Episode 7.
Mandalorian guard at the end. Like I would have loved. I would have really liked that big geezer if they'd have built him up. And you know, you've got his son. You've got Jeremy Fallon's kid as his son, and all that. Fine, but if his death had been episode 7, but the rest of it had been a second, like the second or third episode, building it up and giving us a bit of Moff Gideon and giving us a bit of intrigue. Come on.
To be fair, I was expecting at the end he was fighting the Praetorian Guards.
Praetorian Guard. If he could have just, I don't know.
I was expecting Grogu to step in the middle and say no.
5 minutes out of it.
I was expecting Grogu to step in the middle of that and say no.
Oh yeah, the free Praetorian Guard come out and he just goes, no. And I go, oh, and then they switch off. And then Mandalorian just punches him over the cliff.
But what is the point of what is the point? So Grogu's shown that he can flip and move around, and he had his little pod thing which he can move around in. Now he's in IG-11. They've literally got to, when they have to get out of there, that they've got to jetpack him out as well. Mando literally has to say to him, "Can you keep up?" But IG-11 is known for being that assassin droid that's really strong and he's got really strong armor. Well, if you want, that droid's not going to protect Grogu because 1, Grogu's in charge of it. They haven't given the droid any guns in its hands, and 2, there's a massive hole in the chest where Grogu sits. So if you're trying to kill Grogu, just shoot at the hole in the chest. It's not going to protect him.
His little egg thing was more protective.
Yeah.
And more mobile.
Yeah. The way he drove that out in episode 2, he was well away in that little egg thing.
Yeah.
The only way this would be funny is if IG-11 wakes up and now Grogu and IG-11 are in this battle of control over the body, which would be kind of funny, but also really pointless.
There's to send off our pitch to Disney Points.
He's going to become a Borg.
Yeah. Even out of the Terminator.
The idea of Yoda's species in The Empire Strikes Back was the fact that Luke was brushing him aside, like, oh, he can't be a Jedi Master because he's too small, he's too green, his ears flap around, and he's got a walking stick. Now we've got the same species in Grogu, and you can kind of, you know, I know it doesn't look like it, but I do buy into a lot of Star Wars. I can see what they want to do, but they just can't do it. They're just incapable at the moment.
See the problem they're doing now with Grogu.
But why? Surely the idea is that you can be anything, you know, and this is the point for Dismal Minus. Anyone can be anything, you know, don't let anything stand in your way, girlfriend. But they put Grogu in a metal suit, so he's bigger and stronger, and that isn't the way, is it?
No, but the other problem with Grogu now is that he's shown that he knows what's going on around him. He's shown what's going on around him. He's shown that he understands things. He's shown that he can control things and he can follow instructions, like when he went and got Bo-Katan in episode 2. But the little bastard still can't talk.
He
still can't talk.
No, but the plot demanded.
So how is he developing? Because when they need him to do something, he can then magically do it. But then when they want him to be the cute little baby, he's magically the cute little baby. I mean, I've got a theory that he's trying to pull a fast one like Yoda did. Yoda walks around the walking stick and he's claiming disability benefits. And then as soon as it comes, and as soon as it's needed,
that would be brilliant.
he throws the walking stick away and he flips around all over the place. Grogu, I guarantee the big twist reveal will be that he can speak. He knows what's going on. He's actually highly intelligent. And I still reckon he should be voiced by Patrick Stewart. And he's just going to come out and talk about it all of a sudden. But his defense is that he acts like a baby so no one takes him seriously. That's his hidden mastery.
Oh, and Patrick Stewart could do it as well.
I said that before. Grogu's voice should be the smart gremlin from Gremlins 2.
Oh my gosh. You know, if they do make Grogu talk, though, it will, I believe it will destroy the character.
Well, yeah, because the marketing department love it as it is.
Yeah, it's smart to not have him talk, but the problem is they've kept him in too long. If that was the goal, was don't let him talk, and I think one of you guys mentioned that he wasn't supposed to be in the series beyond the season, or maybe it was the second season. I don't know. Either way, yeah, he should be gone. He needs to go. You cannot continue this character with even a shred of respect beyond this point. He is at the maximum level at this stage. So
how mad would it be in the season finale? Grogu sacrificed himself to save everyone else. Can you imagine?
Old Bin Djarin's going to sacrifice himself next week.
I think he's
that could happen. I think
show anymore.
Because
but they came out at Star Wars Celebration. They came out of Star Wars Celebration. They said that the title Mandalorian doesn't necessarily. We've been thinking about that title quite a bit, and it could relay against. It could sort of mean all Mandalorians. Well, then the show would be called The Mandalorians, not The Mandalorian.
Yeah, but I would kind of love it for that. I would love them if they did that.
Yeah, but it's blatantly going to be Bo-Katan. It's going to be Bo-Katan moving forwards. And to be fair, I haven't got an issue with Bo-Katan. Just give her her own show. Don't have her take over Mando show. Just give her her own show.
No, if it's going to be the Bo-Katan, if it's going to be about Bo-Katan, call it Grogu.
Yeah.
It's going to be about Grogu, call it.
Well, Grogu's already sitting next to her all the
call
time.
It Gideon.
Yeah.
Grogu's already sitting next to her all the time and sitting on her lap. He's sort of abandoned Mando himself as well. Hasn't he, really?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
No, rumors are there are rumors that he's out.
I'm not going to start talking about sitting on Bo-Katan's lap.
Do we have any idea if they're going to do another season beyond this one? Or like, I think my brother-in-law said there might be a movie to conclude everything.
Yeah, so that was one of the announcements at Celebration. They've announced 3 movies moving forward. One of them will be a Dave Filoni movie, which is wrapping up the Mandoverse.
That would be the smart thing to do. Is this is the last season of a series, and then let's have a movie to put a bow on it, have a final scene, like a classic Star Wars ending scene where everybody's celebrating, and then just you get that portrait of like the family, the Star Wars family, and then done.
Yeah.
You have to. I think it's.
Speaking of which, sorry, slight diversion. They're re-releasing Jedi in the cinemas next Friday. Sorry, the 28th. Are we going?
Wait, what?
They're re-releasing Return of the Jedi in the cinemas on the
28th.
Just Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
Yeah, 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi.
It's 40th anniversary, so yeah, they're bringing it back
for
a cinema showing. Are we going? Seriously?
Is it?
It can't be 40 years. I couldn't have been 3 when that film came out.
3. He was 87.
Shut up.
and
no, we're not.
Why are we not going? Now you've got your newfound love for Ewoks.
I cried on the way out of the original screening.
You could take Wicket with you.
Yeah, I might go back to I'll tell you what we'll do. You come round my way. We're going to Return of the Jedi, and we'll go to my old school, and I'll let a few of them kids beat me up again.
Make sure you get tape of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And if we can't find no kids, I'll just beat them up. It's fine.
Yeah.
You just give me a good kicking. Yeah.
Sorry, I diverted slightly there. Yeah.
And it would all be as if Blade Runner never happened.
So obviously you two went to Celebration. I couldn't make it, which I'm gutted about. But
it's always Japan 2025. Japan.
Oh yes, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. But you guys haven't touched on the news yet that's come out from it, have you?
It's loads.
So that's what I wanted to go through. So the first. Oh yeah, the first bit, the Ahsoka trailer.
Let's keep it Star Wars.
Oh my gosh!
Let's get this shit out of the way.
Oh my gosh!
So Ahsoka trailer, Tayters, you've watched it about 1,000 times already. So
yeah, probably this morning. Yeah. It's oh my god. There's so much. I can't quite make out where this trailer. Obviously, we're looking at little snippets of the whole season. The timeline I'm struggling with, where this fits.
Does it have to, though? Does it have to?
For it to make sense, it would have to fit in. It would have to fit in the current timeline.
This is what still grips my shit all the time.
Go on.
Where it doesn't have to. It should be. The thing with the Ahsoka trailer, in and of itself, it's some exciting little snippets of people falling, climbing, jumping, lightsabers.
Yeah, we've got some new characters. And that's intriguing.
in and of itself, and it's like Randy has pointed out, does this trailer tell me anything about what they're trying to promote?
Nope.
I would say is no, unless you've watched every episode of Clone Wars, every Rebels, which is okay, cool. They've directed it.
Well, it's Rebels season 5.
Straight to the hardcore fan. There's nothing wrong with that. But they leave no room for someone new, do they? And that's why.
We haven't seen it yet. Let's wait and see.
Just quickly back to Mandalorian. If old Doomcock, Overlord DVD, I don't know if any of the rest of you watch it, his channel, he's got great connections with Dismal Minus on YouTube. His YouTube videos are normally spot on 99% of the time. The drop off from Mandalorian episode 1 to episode 6 has been 93%.
Yeah, it's first the viewership of the first episode was like 6.8 million on the Wednesday.
In a certain time parameter.
No, he was saying on the Wednesday they had 6.8 million views on the Wednesday release of episode 1, season 3. When it come to episode, or was it episode 6 he was talking about?
6, yeah.
It went down to 20,000.
Yeah, it's shocking.
It's dropped like a stone.
Yeah.
But my point is, the reason I brought that up with relevance to Ahsoka is it is good when you aim it at the fans. It's like when we all done our Last of Us reviews, right? It was so great that they aimed it squarely, firstly, prioritising the fans of the game. And I was a non-gamer. And by and large, I also loved it. It was head and shoulders above a lot of crap that comes out. But what they seem to keep relying on, and I think it's why it keeps sinking, is that you can't bring on any new blood. You can't bring on any new fans. You can't excite anyone if you need them to have seen 7 seasons of Clone Wars.
But we don't know that yet. We don't know if we do know anyone who's seen it. All I'm saying is
I am going to say, I bet you've got to. Because
all I'm saying is what I picked up on. That's all I'm going to talk about is what I saw. What I saw in there was, again,
go on.
I was trying to nail down the timeline.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it's relevant to anybody but me, I just want to know where it fits in the story. But we've got new characters coming in. We've got the Baylan Skull character and the Shin Hati character. Very intriguing characters.
What's his name?
Baylan Skull.
Oh, I thought you said Shin Hati.
Shin Hati. Right, so those two characters, at least the surnames are so Skull and Hati, I like my mythology. Skull and Hati are actually from Norse mythology. They're wolves. And I don't know if it's that simple because Dave Filoni loves a wolf. I don't know if it's just he's picked those two names because they are wolves from from Norse mythology, or if there's something deeper to that in terms of their character moving forward and what they're going to be.
Well, I made a prediction, didn't I, about those characters?
Go on. Yeah, go on. Tell everyone.
So you got
they do walking and talking.
No, so the style of their lightsabers and the way they look, they look like they're from the Old Republic. So they look a lot like they've literally from when there's loads of Sith and loads of Jedi going around from the Old Republic. So I think they're going to go heavy on the world between worlds, which is again something from Rebels, but they're going to go heavy on that because they're probably going to use that as a device to explain why Ahsoka was missing from the original trilogy. But I think they've been sucked through the world between worlds and they've come out in the present, which is post Jedi.
If they use that device once, I'm all for it. Just just give me one conceit.
One conceit done.
But once that's done, once that one conceit is established, whether it's at the beginning of a film or a TV series or stitching all this shit together, as long as they just give us that one conceit and we can get over it, then give us the story. But what I am most excited about is there is a white man in it.
Ray Stevenson. So
we've got
going
on
what Liz just said.
White and do you know what?
Going on what Liz just said, I do think something slightly different. I do think they are from an older generation. And that I'm on a similar vein as them. They've definitely come through the world between worlds. They've been pulled through somehow. Don't know the mechanisms how, but looking at what Ray Stevenson said about his character, Balin Skull, that he will ask you to move. If he's on a mission, he will ask you to move if you're in his way. If you don't, he will move you. Whereas the Hattie character, she just seems like, I'm just going to go through you, whether you're there or not, whether I ask or not. I'm going to take you down. But she also has a Padawan braid, which would indicate that there's something Jedi about them. So I'm of the thought that they're probably pre-Jedi and Sith and just Force users, but they're at the beginning of where that branched off.
I think
the Jedi and the Sith.
Disney prefer you to say Force adjacent.
Force adjacent. But that's my own little theory that they are
all right.
These characters are going to be
all theories
in that
aside,
beginning vein.
Theories aside, and that's all cool and interesting if you're into the, if you're into the deep stuff, like, and you have followed it all. And I do love the fact that the Filoni will do that and connect all the dots. But what are our verdicts on the trailer for selling a piece of episodic entertainment?
For me, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's standard.
For me, yeah.
For me, it was a solid trailer. I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10. But for me, but it's then, again, because I know everything that's happened. If you didn't know everything, you'd score it a lot lower. Yeah. But because I know everything that's happened, and I've, like Tayters, I've watched Clone Wars, I've watched Rebels, I know more about the mythology of it, I've ranked it higher because I've spotted a few things like Tayters has. Tayters has spotted a lot more than me.
Because this right here is where Dismal is disappearing down the sinkhole. Because I think it advertised nothing for a new audience. It didn't tell us who Ahsoka was. All right, she's a kick-ass alien Jedi with a sword-ish.
She looks cool.
Former Jedi. Jedi.
But what I'm trying to get us all to try and drill down into is, if, apart from us five, who would have been excited about that trailer? Like,
well, the trailer did tell you that
if you're open to science fiction, if you're open to science fantasy or something in general, what did it tell us? Why should we watch it? Is it about, oh my God, it's about this new alien Jedi? It kind of showed a few scenes, of her falling down.
Well, it basically told you exactly what it was in the trailer. It's set after Jedi. The Empire has fallen.
You're referring to Jedi again. This is what I'm talking.
So you're not going to watch it if you haven't watched Jedi, are you?
No, audience. That's what a trailer. But you can't rely on. What do you two think?
But even that, it's.
Oh no! Sorry, go ahead.
So even that, it's literally along the lines of, there's an empire that's rising. You've got a bad guy that's coming. She senses it. She's going to try and stop it. That's literally all you can get from that trailer.
Yeah, I'm not somebody who follows the lore of Star Wars. I've at the very least attempted to watch every single live action version of Star Wars that there is. And I've given up on many of them because I said, this is clearly not doing well in the storytelling department or the character development department, and I'm not interested. Like, I never watched the second and third of the most recent trilogy. I've never watched either of those more than like once. So
I wish I hadn't watched them too, to be fair.
But so for this one, I went into this. I don't know who Ahsoka is. I just know that she is a beloved character and everybody's excited to see a live action version of her. I looked at this and I saw, wow, that's very good quality for a TV series. And it looks like we're going to get Jedi, which I'm excited about. I love seeing the Jedi fighting on screen. I want to see more of that. So that was the only thing that drew me to this was we have a character who everybody says is great. So I'm hoping that I will see a great character. And we've got Jedi, and it looks like good quality special effects. And it looks like they put effort into it visually. That's it. I mean, when the show comes out, I'm not going to be racing to the couch to watch it. I will probably wait until I hear, do people enjoy it? Is it doing well? And maybe I'll let a few episodes come out and then I'll give it a shot. But if it's not grabbing me in the first episode, I'm going to be like, this is just like, Kenobi. It's going to be another disappointment for me. I have no interest in sitting through several episodes where I feel like I wasted my afternoon and I'm going to go home. But yeah, I think you're right, Hog. This is not dragging in a new audience very much. I mean, other than the visuals, what is there? Like, if nobody knows who Ahsoka is, they're going to say she looks cool. So that's it. The visuals are drawing in a new audience. Is that it? I mean, that's not enough.
It's got to be someone. This is the way I look at it. It's someone's first Star Wars.
Yeah.
And not just that. If it was Marvel, it's someone's first Marvel. And it does come from my geeky comic days where Stan Lee would say, this is someone's first issue. So you pick up an issue of the Hulk and he doesn't know that he got the atom bomb went off and he got the gamma bomb went off and he got his powers from that. And Spider-Man, he didn't know. If you just picked up issue 18 of Spider-Man, you don't know that he got bit by a radioactive spider and his girlfriend is, Mary Jane's died and Gwen and that. But what Stan Lee demanded was within the first 6 pages of every issue, whether it was X-Men, Spider-Man, Hulk, blah, blah, you were up to date with what had gone on before, previously on. Right. But I like that approach. That's why, I don't know if you remember me saying about the Mandalorian episode 1 of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
I said that was such a lovely jumping on point. If it was someone's first Star Wars episode, he was right up to date. And I know a lot of people moan, like, oh, bloody hell, we've seen all that before. But come on.
I was the same. I was in the same fault. Yeah.
Yeah, we have. But I enjoyed it for that. But what I think they're missing a trick where it's not a bad thing to do. It's not horrible that they're aiming it so squarely at the fans. But it's like you need to be preloaded with so much information to enjoy this trade. I'm only talking very, very specific about this trailer. Be preloaded with so much information to go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, rather than it be someone, Ahsoka landing, lightsaber, alien. Right, now what?
Well, that's the thing as well. It's pretty much season 5 of Rebels.
It's just typical dismal. It's just cool image, cool image, cool image, cool image, cool image, and gone. There's only so far you can go with that, but I know everything is dotted the I's and crossed the T's as far as the hardcore Star Wars fans are concerned. That isn't a bad thing. But my worry is the fact that it doesn't bring anyone new to the party because you don't understand what's going on. Unless you literally are thinking, oh, this looks really shiny and great. And you
yes.
If that makes any sense. Randy, what do you think? Because you are the one with the trailers where you say.
Yeah, I mean, so you make a really good point. I've seen the trailer and I got to tell you that I don't remember it. And that's not because my brain is faulty. What that means is it just was not very impactful. I mean, the only thing I remembered thinking about it was like, oh, they're going to give Ahsoka her own show. Okay, so that's all I thought, right? So nothing stood out. And in case, I mean, what you've said about me is true. And for anyone who hasn't heard that before, so I'll judge an upcoming movie by the trailer. And if the trailer cannot tell me what that story is about and grab me with that story, I expect that that's going to be a bad movie because they don't have a story. They're just showing us, I don't know, whatever bits. And a good example is the Marvels trailer. So I'm not sure if anyone's seen that.
We will get onto that, Randy. We will get onto that. Don't you?
Okay. So I have plenty to say about that trailer, but the Ahsoka the only thing I have is like, oh, they're finally getting her, and I know she's a popular character, right? And that goes right to what you're talking about. If I'm not a Star Wars fan, if I'm not a fanatic Star Wars fan, this trailer does not draw me in because I don't like, okay, so there's Ahsoka, who cares, right? Show me something about Ahsoka. And if it's going to be a series, then give me glimpses of what she's like personality-wise, even if you're not going to give me the storyline, right? Make me feel something for her as a character, make me like her like the fans do, right? I mean, obviously, this is a popular character, so there must be really cool stuff that she does that has drawn everyone to like her. Give me an example of that in the trailer so that I am already liking her. I'm like, yeah, I want to see what she does. And they didn't do that.
Oh, I think they did it. I think they're halfway there, and I've got to admit, I really hope that that they do deliver. But I'm a sucker for it. I'm a sucker for, I know Tayters is over the moon with this trailer, but you're invested. You are invested.
Put it this way, I think this is the most important show they've done.
It's, but so was Mandalorian, and look what they've done with that.
Yeah, but
the Mandalorian was supposed to be the tentpole show. There's no films.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be, but and Kenobi was supposed to be, and Boba Fett was supposed to be quite good.
Now it's Ahsoka.
Okay,
now I think Tayters is going to be mentally in trouble with this.
But
you'll just see feet hanging about here. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, a lot of the normal fans, or sort of like Star Wars fans, but not Star Wars crazy fans, have been disappointed and gone from Boba Fett and Kenobi. Ahsoka's for the hardcore fans. If they mess up Ahsoka, they've lost Star Wars completely. There's no point with this new trilogy, the new trilogy of films that they've announced and all that sort of stuff, or 3 films, not a trilogy of films.
Yeah, not a trilogy.
3 separate films. There's no point in doing any of that because you'll literally lose everyone off of Ahsoka if they mess it up.
And it could this is for the trailer. It could be a good series. All I was interested in was getting you lot coming at it from a different.
That's what I'm saying. That trailer is made from little snippets of a whole series.
Yeah,
you've got no clue how it's going to start.
I want to go back to your point. Okay, so you guys are liking the trailer, right? You are way more invested in that character than I am. I love Star Wars, okay, but I'm not as big a fanatic fan as the two of you are. I like it. I know who Ahsoka is. I don't love that character because I'm not as invested in Star Wars. So for me, that trailer doesn't excite me. Yeah, I'm going to say that why it excites you is because you guys know so much more about her.
Yeah,
you can read into that. But that's why this trailer isn't effective, because it's not. They need to bring in more viewers, right? I mean, the Hog. That's what you were saying. They need to bring in more.
Yeah. Do you think it just looks more of the same?
Right?
Yeah.
Like more of the same. It's just I know that's all part of it and part of the excitement. We want to see some good lightsaber duels. I'm not saying that, but surely to God, bring us a new element to it. We know there's a cachet to the character, but build on it. Now, let's say, look, third of Ahsoka, and we all go, and they go, well, this is what she's going to do.
Well, the major thing as well is
only the first teaser trailer. That's the only other thing I would say.
Teaser trailer,
well, the other major thing as well is based off of
running through me, so I'm going to be
but based off of the trailer, there's a lot of Rebels characters that are appearing. Now, the worst thing they could do, based off of what you guys are saying, is if they keep referring to stuff that happened in Rebels. I know these are the Rebels characters. You've got Sabine Wren, you've got Harrison Dudda, you've got Chopper in there. But if you keep referring to stuff that's happened in Rebels, you're going to fall into that trap, which you guys are saying. You just need to start afresh. If you know that information about these characters, it adds something extra to the hardcore fans. But if you're someone new coming into it, you don't need to know any of that stuff. You can just see the character as they are in the Ahsoka show.
I mean, but we're all assuming because of the links to Rebels that part of this story is not just to find Thrawn, but to find Ezra Bridger. So,
yeah, well, they implied that in the trailer as well, didn't they?
well, I mean, you had Sabine looking at the hologram of him, but yeah, there's been an implication since they announced the show that this is going to be about them looking for Ezra.
And if you don't know, who Ezra is,
that's it. But the trailer, from my point of view,
no one cares.
But the trailer, from my point of view, was more talking about stopping Thrawn, not necessarily finding Ezra. Although we had the Purgils in Mando, which kind of again.
Hello, Mr. Narwhal. Hello, buddy.
So I don't know.
But
like I say, let's watch the season and find out.
This was only a teaser, though.
Yes, it was a teaser trailer.
Let's just, you know, aside from all that, this was one teaser trailer. But it would just be nice, perhaps, if all this enthusiasm and the focusing on the fans, which is very, very cool, was the oversight was producers and people that just say, no, this doesn't work, guys and girls. Look, I love what you've been doing here, but this trailer, and I'm not talking about the guys who are, and girls who are creating the series. I'm talking about now the trailer people. Right, this doesn't. Listen, this is preaching to the converted. We're losing $1 billion. We're losing $1 billion a quarter here. We need to grow our audience. So, can we do a trailer? You know, we've got all the footage.
Yeah.
Show Ahsoka as the. But these producers that have maybe been in TV for more than 5 minutes would know what to deliver for an audience or for a prospective audience to try and grow it now, because
that's the thing, they don't know what to deliver.
It's really, aren't we? We're properly getting down into
the announcement.
People globally that want to watch this because they've seen everything else and read every book, every comic. They've watched all of Clone Wars, all of Rebel. That is the what do they call it? The law of diminishing returns. That's all that is. Yeah. It's the fastest way to the bottom at the moment. Instead of expanding, the expanded universe. It's an oxymoron at the moment for Star Wars because they're not expanding fuck all. It's all diminishing. Are they? You know.
Well, Heir to the Empire was part of the EU, so
exactly. But it's all. No one knows.
Their panic. Their panic has been proven in the announcements of the films they've done. So they've announced 3 films.
Come on, let's move on to the announcements.
Right.
I'm just going to say sorry, Liz, just quickly before you explain away, I'm just going to state on record, I don't believe any of it.
No.
I think this is bollocks from Kathleen Kennedy to save her skin, and none of these are going to materialize.
Nice. So the 3 films that they announced tells me straight away they're in panic mode and they're just trying to cover all bases. So you've got the Filoni film, which is going to wrap up Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and all that sort of stuff, right? Now, bearing in mind you can watch these characters for your Disney Plus subscription, I'm not quite sure what a movie at the box office will do with those characters. Then you've got James, so that's set in like the New Republic era. Then you got James Mangold, who is the director of Logan, but he's also the director of the new Indy film, which, okay, so they deliver sometimes, don't deliver other times.
No, he done something else, didn't he, James Mangold?
He's done a few. He done the Wolverine,
yes,
and then he done Logan. So he's done a good Logan film and a bad Wolverine film. But he's writing and directing a Star Wars film that's going back to the Dawn of the Jedi. So there's one film
as well.
Yeah. So there's one film in the New Republic era, so just like post Return of the Jedi. Then you've got one film 25,000 years before anything, when the Force is discovered, pretty much. And then the final announcement was it's a film that's set 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker. It's being written by the bloke that wrote Peaky Blinders, but it's being directed by Sherman Obey-Chinoy. I think I pronounced that right. So she's an Academy Award-winning director for a short film that she did in 2011.
So was the one that directed the Eternals.
Yeah, and she directed 2 episodes of Miss Marvel, and the film is focusing on Ray Palpatine. I'm not going to call her Ray.
Bestest ever.
And if what's being bestest ever, and if what is being said is true, she's pregnant somehow.
Oh, God. Now, my problem with this is, right, so one, Ray was a character.
Guys. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but Ray wasn't a character that anyone liked. Now you're doing another show and forcing her down our necks with another film, and all you're going to be doing is giving her the story, apart from the pregnancy thing, which I haven't heard about, but all you're going to do is give her the story that Luke Skywalker should have had about rebuilding the Jedi. That's all you're going to be doing. Yeah. So the story that you should have given Luke, you're now going to give to Ray. But what that announcement of those 3 films tells me is we don't know what the fans want, so we need to announce something. We need to get something out there. Let's do something New Republic. Let's tie all that stuff up. Let's do one in the future, one well in the past. Whichever one kicks off and whichever one does well, we're going to go with that era for a new trilogy.
They're testing the water, and Kate trying to save her neck.
Yeah, it's a cover-all bases approach. We'll set one now, one then, one back then.
I think that the one set farthest in the past, so typically a prequel story is a bad idea unless you go back so far that it's something that has not been discussed or brought to the page before. So there's nobody going into this going, I know how the Jedi Order was formed. I know how the first Jedi came about. Because you'll never meet their expectations. What you have in your head, what is left up to your imagination, is always going to be better than what somebody else comes up with. So if this is set back far enough that nobody knows how the Jedi really came about, it's not even talked about, there's, just like, oh, it's a big mystery, nobody really knows what it is. Now that's going to actually disappoint some people that you're taking the mystery out of it. But if they've gone back so far that it hasn't been looked at before, it will be such a new, fresh story. Hopefully, that's what you're hoping they're going to do. They're not going to bring in like, oh, this is where the Emperor was first, he first came about here. Oh my gosh, Yoda is here too because he's that old. He's not, but that would ruin it. He's supposed to be that old.
No, Hog is.
Oh, hey.
That's the only way that this would be a success, and I think it's the most likely to be a success because everything else, look, you need to wipe the slate clean, start with something completely fresh and new. We've explored we've explored this era too much. Put it aside, do something new, and this might be it. If they don't try to bring too much of what people already know into it, make this its own thing.
And we're back to Rogue One again.
Yeah, we are back to Rogue One. Wasn't that the best to have come out since the original? Yeah.
See, I think it's a mistake to actually go back to 25,000 years. See, I personally think that the actual discovery of the Force should remain a mystery. So I think going back 25,000 years is actually a bit too far. You don't have to explain it all. What would be nice? Yeah, but what would be nice is to go to the Old Republic.
His own arse.
Yeah, but what would be nice is to go to the Old Republic. So when there's hundreds of Sith versus hundreds of Jedi, you could almost do like a Lord of the Rings style battle with Sith and Jedi.
That'd be cool. I agree with you. I do agree with you that taking the mystique out of it, it diminishes what it is. Because, like I said, everybody's imagination is going to be far more grand than what somebody will put on a page or on a screen in this case.
Yeah.
But it's so different and separate from what we have now. I think it has the most potential for being its own thing. It's not going to it cannot rely on everybody's expectations of, I know this character, or we're familiar with who this is supposed to be, or what their involvement is. If it's so far back that it cannot connect to all of that, and literally all it has is the Force and possibly the origins of the Jedi Order, that I think is a little enough to not lock it into the crap that we have seen so far and not disappoint too many people. But I do agree. I agree that it's going to diminish the mystery, right? Whenever you take the mystery out of something, it makes it smaller. But it does have the potential to be the least tainted by expectations and by being wedged into the universe that already exists.
See, I'd say go Old Republic, do the wars between the Sith and the Jedi, and do a trilogy if you have to, or do one film, just one film, Old Republic, Sith versus Jedi, but it ends on the Sith being defeated and then coming up with the rule of two. Just end it on that, and then we're done. And that would be a film that would be satisfying. It's not really connected to anything else, but has some sort of meaning within the Star Wars universe. So it keeps the fans happy, but it keeps other new people that are coming in. They have no idea what the rule of two is, but it just comes down to the rule of two at the end. But for fans, that's a bit of fan service. But if you're a newbie, okay, they've decided to only have two of them. Cool, sweet. You could have done a lot more with that. Going back 25,000 years, what are you going to do? How's the Force going to be discovered? Someone's just sitting there, looks at a rock, or looks at the remote for their TV and goes, "Oh, I want the TV to change channel." Oh, it's just
no. What you're going to get is
the Force. You're
going to get like Spider-Man. It's going to be, what the hell did I just do? And then they're going to be experimenting with how they can do it. People love watching that story be told. I mean, how many times have we watched origin stories of the superheroes? I know it's boring, but it's the one that draws people in. So the problem you're talking about, Hog, we want to see something that's going to draw people in. If this is the origin of the Force, you can have people who've never been exposed to the Star Wars universe before sit in and learn from scratch what they need to understand the movie.
And I think that's where they would grow an audience, which would is what I would love to see, because what I think of the heart of all this after Star Wars Celebration is the fact that you all agree that there was a certain film out of the first 6. Let's not count the last 3 films. I'm just talking.
Okay.
And out of those 6 films, that was someone's first Star Wars film, and that drew you in to the universe that you just, a universe of wonder. Where did the Jedi come from? Where did the Sith come from? How did they build the Death Star? Like, oh my God, I love these alien planets, right? But they've lost. It is so not the way now. Where they've turned it into, they're churning it into some kind of they're trying to homogenize it.
I feel sorry for the people that their first Star Wars is a sequel trilogy, to be honest with you.
But it was decent. The first 6 were just decent entertainment, whether it was boy meet girl, whether it was, I don't know. The classic 9 story tropes, whatever it was. Now it's so mixed up and they're narrowing it so much. I think this is like, as I'm talking about it with you guys, what I'm trying to get at is the fact that when Tayters says to me, "Oh my God, that was Zeb in live action," and it's a shit episode of TV, but Tayters is excited because Zeb was in live action. That does not make that. It annoys me because it was so shit. But if it should have been a good episode of TV where a true Star Wars fan goes, "Oh shit, I remember him from Rebels," and it was really cool to see him in live action.
But in terms of
I've gone through that with the Marvel stuff.
But in terms of these 3 films, in terms of these 3 films, if you didn't like the sequel trilogy, which a lot of people didn't, you're not going to be interested in the Rey film, so that's an instant flop. If you haven't watched all of The Mandalorian, all of Ahsoka, and all of Boba Fett, this Filoni film is going to be a flop, because why are you going to go to cinema and see it? You just wait for it to come out on Disney Plus, like you've waited for Mandalorian season 3 to come out on Disney Plus. The only one that's actually got potential is Mangold's film, and he's got the ability, and he has had the ability to deliver good films like Logan, but then he's also delivered Wolverine, and he's also going to be delivering us Dial of Destiny. So, and he's also going all the way back and taking the mystique out of the Force and how it was discovered. So none of these films are overly exciting, but out of all 3 of them, the Mangold film has probably got the most potential. it's not real. And they've also said that old Wahiti, his film hasn't actually been cancelled. He's still writing.
Oh.
He's still writing in the background. He's apparently, the reason it's taking so long is he's refusing to let anyone else help him with the script.
Oh,
Now,
who would have thought that?
Well, the last time that happened, we had Thor: Love and Thunder.
Exactly more.
Yeah, times are changing. Times are changing.
Yeah. Watiti can do stuff, man.
Yeah, but okay. So he's saying that I'm not letting anyone help me with this script. Well, I'm your fucking boss. I'm telling you need help with that script. Come on, it's shocking.
None of it's happening on. I'll tell you what, none of this.
Well, look, no, you say that. You say none of it's happening. I'm not sure if this is the deal that KK's been given. Instead of her 4 movies, her 4 movie credits, she's going to get these 3, and that's it. And then Disney will wipe her off.
You imagine the contract and your pen is hovering over. And I'm talking about the business side of Disney at the moment, with all that money at stake, and you've got 300 billion. Indy has cost you 300 billion. Indy 5. And who is going to sign off on 3 new Star Wars films with The Mandalorian in the toilet? And the last 3 films, all of which had Rey in it, the law of diminishing returns.
I just hope the Rey film.
Those last 3 films are less and less and less. Solo was the first one that lost money. A Star Wars film that lost money. And who is going to sign off on Iger? Iger is currently at the helm of a company that is losing $1 billion every quarter. He said he's got to save 5.5 billion this year, and you think he's going to sign off on new Star Wars films?
I just hope that when we get Rey's film, I just hope when we get Rey's film, it opens up with her being a failure. She's grown a beard. She's isolated on an island. She's drinking milk from an alien's tits. I hope she's drinking that fucking milk from an alien's tit while she goes about her day saying the Jedi have got a fucking end.
I think they had to throw us some red meat. I think they had to throw us some red meat because it was Star Wars Celebration. And I think that's why we haven't got one next year.
Well,
that's
they have not got the money.
Yeah, that was already paid for. Celebration 2023 was already paid for. So yeah,
or they haven't got the money. They've got no money. They've lost.
Did you hear about the Acolyte as well?
You realise how much money they've lost, this company, and how far there's no dividends for shareholders. That the shares are down. I know we talk all the good stuff, all the storytelling stuff and all that, but just 1 minute, the business side of it.
Oh, yeah.
They are in trouble.
Yeah, because of the direction they've been heading.
I just can't see anyone signing off on a new Star Wars film that's going to cost 200 million, 250 million.
No, didn't they?
They pegged it at 175.
Yeah, I'm saying no. Didn't they? One of the Doomcock things was these movies can't cost more than 100 or
175 million. Yeah.
Was it the cap 175?
So they're going to give us worse quality as well.
150.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit less than that.
That was
walking and talking.
That's a requirement. That I must have missed where that was said. Where did they're telling the.
So moving forward, apparently with anything Disney, if it's a major movie, they're going to cap the amount of money the budget can be.
Yeah,
it will be a capped budget. There will be no. It will be you produce this movie for this much, or don't do it.
Yeah, but then you get this is the thing. This is because they've got no ideas. I mean, you've got to show the Acolyte, the comment from Headland, who's been writing it and is going to be directing it and that. Bear in mind, it's Star Wars. The first thing they said, they've come here to challenge Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then they've said it's going to be Frozen meets Kill Bill. What? Like
what?
So when you have these people employed and they're giving you shit all the time, That's why you got to cap these budgets. But then you say you got to cap these budgets. Just clear house. Get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. Get rid of the entire film lot.
Wait.
Once she's gone,
I think that the Kill Bill musical is genius. So let's not talk about it being crap, okay? I like that idea.
Yeah, Frozen meets Kill Bill, but not in Star Wars. Come on.
No, Randy. I say the day.
And then if all this news wasn't bad enough, they then drop the Young Jedi Adventures trailer.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, come on.
My son loved that.
Which features a tie-dyed Ewok.
Yeah, oh no, we can't talk. Really? Come on, that is so squarely aimed at the kids. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
I just hope they all die in Order 66 and Anakin kills them at the end of the season.
You're a vicious little space lizard, didn't you?
Cut that Care Bear in half.
No, it's aimed at the little kids.
Has Order 66, does it have anything on film, anything on a screen, where we're following a group that is in the Jedi Academy or whatever, the Abbey thing, trying to escape this? Because I thought that's what we're going to get with Grogu, and I was just like, this is so boring. I would love to see that. That would be great. That would be a great movie. You know, you're following the young Jedi, and then Order 66 happens.
Reva survived it.
Mandalorian.
Reva survived it as well.
Yeah, but did we get a big epic escape? A big, here we are in the really?
Yeah, with the bloke who played Jar Jar on his motorbike.
That was bullshit. What the hell was that? That was the worst.
How dare you?
We had Reva survive it in Kenobi.
I want to see inside the academy, Jedi's trying to defend the younglings, and the younglings like desperately trying to escape. I mean, I know this is a terrible thing to want, but I want to see kids getting slaughtered.
Well, no, we nearly got that. We nearly got that.
Yeah,
Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Think about how. Yeah, okay. Episode 3. Was it 3? Yes. Okay. Now and who? Okay. Does anybody remember? I think everybody will. When they look across and they see the young, like, teenager Jedi, like, defending them so that they can make their escape. That to me was the highlight of the movie. I was like, I want a movie about this, because that was interesting and exciting for like 3 seconds.
Yes.
Well, we saw Reva survive it in Kenobi. She got stabbed in the chest by Anakin, laid there with all the other Jedi, somehow survived, and then got out. Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Who was the guy who oversaw the early days of the CW with the Flash and Arrow?
Berlanti, wasn't it?
Right, Greg Berlanti.
Yeah.
At one point,
he's got a record, isn't he?
Yeah, he had. I think it was 26, but for some reason I want to say 36.
No, 27.
Who said that?
Yeah, 27 shows.
It was a lot. Your voice changed then, Liz.
It did. It sounds different.
He's transforming. He's transforming.
He's molting.
Someone said 27. I thought, who was that?
I'm slowly taking human form, man.
Yes, wow, your voice. Yeah, your voice has dropped. Your balls have dropped.
Fucking Spaceballs, man. Spaceballs.
Spaceballs.
Actually, talking of Spaceballs, we saw some Spaceballs, didn't we, at Celebration?
Oh, really?
People, yeah. We had a Pizza the Hut floating about.
To the hut.
we had a dark helmet. Who else?
There were some
the other one. The guy saw.
There were some people taking the piss.
We had the C-3PO Quagmire from Family Guy.
Yeah. But so
sorry,
Greg Berlanti. Imagine that kind of producer at Dismal now, overseeing Marvel and Disney, saying, right, an experienced guy with a team around him, just honing all the enthusiasm and creativity of all the people, all the creativity and enthusiasm we love, whether it's Marvel or Star Wars. What's lost with them lot at the moment is that hierarchy of just aiming it, just honing it, just taking someone like Favreau with all the good ideas. There are good ideas in Mandalorian season 3. There are. We can see where he's going, and we can see he's got heart and enthusiasm and loves the stuff. But he's been left on his own to do it. That's no good. That's no good. And he's at loggerheads with KK, if, we're going to believe the rumours and all that. But someone like a Berlanti, if you get rid of KK and you've got someone Berlanti, is kind of experience and know-how of how to craft, of how to hone and aim all of their creativity and imagination, then I think you've got it. Mandalorian season 3 with a Berlanti-like figure above it saying, no, guys, not just saying, no, I want you to make that gay or black or a female. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, no, why does the audience believe? Why does the audience want to watch this program next week? From the first episode, at the end of episode 1, Greg Berlanti is going to be saying to the people making it, why does anyone want to watch this next week? Because you just watch Mandalorian with and I know I'm just trying to, but I want a new generation to come on to Star Wars, not just parents indoctrinating their children. And don't get me wrong, I did that to my son. But I had the sequel trilogy to indoctrinate him. He's gone now. He hasn't watched Mandalorian. He hasn't watched Book of Boba Fett. He was gone. He was gone from Kenobi. He's done. So that's ended. And that's the thing with me. It's so sad because if you've got 160 million or whatever million subscribers it is, and you've got 3 or 4 or 5, 6 million people watching Mandalorian, that's got to be sad. That's got to be sad.
But they're not learning, are they?
AK's gone. It won't.
But they're not learning.
I'm saying we've come to the end of this shit.
Yeah,
we are on the back end of the shit.
Brings it back because all the enthusiasm and the determination and all that is there, but
they're not learning. They're not learning.
I think they have now. I think they have. I think it's just everything being put in action. And
have you seen the Marvels trailer?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, but you're talking about a project. Go on. We're getting a project now that's been worked on for the last 18 months, 2 years. That's not.
It's been delayed for 2 years.
Well, there we go. It's been delayed for 2 years. That's how bad it was.
It's been delayed 5 times. 5 times.
What do we think of this as a trailer?
Randy liked it. Shush, let Randy go.
No, I did not.
Go on, Randy.
Oh, okay. Randy didn't like it.
Yeah. So here's the thing. What if you watch the trailer? What do we know about the movie? That the 3 characters, the 3 Marvels, are going to switch places when they use their powers.
Yep.
Kind of. That's all we really know. That trailer plays off that throughout the length of the trailer. I had to have someone point out to me that they did show the main bad person, the villain, right? And it was so unimpressive that I had missed that that's supposed to be the big villain they're fighting against, right?
Yeah.
So because they're spending way too much time, isn't this funny? We're switching places, yay, and I've heard other people talk about it's like Freaky Friday in space or in the Marvel universe. I don't want to watch Freaky Friday in space. I'm not putting Disney down for those original movies. Those were funny. They had a target audience. And if this movie is meant to target that exact same audience, young girls, 10, 5 to 15, they're doing a smash up job. That's what this movie is. They're just going to go from place to place and hilarious hijinks are going to happen. There's going to be cats. Yay. Okay. But for me, no, I don't want to see a movie about all of that. That's not my kind of thing. And it doesn't tell me anything about the story other than they're doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And when you get a trailer and in the first 30 seconds, you can spot plot holes. There's a lot of issues. So I said this earlier in the week. You've got the concept of them swapping every time they use their powers, and every time they swap throughout the rest of the trailer, they swap in they're still in their clothes, they're still in their uniform, so they haven't swapped clothes. So it's not just the body that swapped, and they're now Camilla Khan's not in Captain Marvel's uniform, and then she's in Camilla Khan's uniform. Nothing like that. So they swap, and they're in the same uniform each time. Apart from the very opening when Monica Rambeau swaps with Camilla Khan, but the spacesuit stays there just so she can survive. Then she gets thrown towards the spaceship, but then slows down somehow on entry when she should have just smashed straight into the side of the thing. But then she instantly recognizes Nick Fury, who's supposed to be the ultimate spy in this Marvel universe. He faked his death in Winter Soldier. He's been hiding in the background. He's supposedly been off-world for God knows how long, dealing with the Skrulls. But yet this Camilla Khan, who basically had her powers posted to her by her grandma, them bracelets that she's got that makes her powerful, was sent to her in the post from her grandma. She knows who Nick Fury is. What the hell is going on? Yeah, and what's even more apparent with this is, so when Captain Marvel came out, so Wonder Woman did well, and Marvel tried to react by giving us Captain Marvel. When they really should have given us a dark, gritty Black Widow film, they decided to give us Captain Marvel. Now, they made Captain Marvel so awesome and so powerful that all she had to do was turn up at the end of Endgame and just fly through the ship, smash everyone up, and she's amazing. Since then, we've seen her. Bearing in mind, she's supposed to be like the new pinnacle of the Marvel universe. We've seen her in a little bit at the end of Shang-Chi. We saw her in a cut scene from Miss Marvel, which no one watched. And the only reason I know that is because I saw a picture of it online. Now we've got her in not Captain Marvel 2, we've got her in the Marvels. So she's been diminished. They know that no one likes her. They know that she's a crap character. And Monica Rambeau is from WandaVision, who was a side character from WandaVision, and was the little girl from the original Captain Marvel movie. So a little side character. You've got Camilla Khan, who's no one watched that show, but in the comics, none of these characters actually work. These are like the 5th iterations of these characters. So the characters in the comics didn't work. The characters in the characters in live action didn't work. Now, because none of them have worked on their own, you're going to try and piece all these 3 shit characters together to give us a film that's not going to work.
Yep, right.
But saying that, I desperately want to see it just to see how shit it is.
Nice.
Okay, I'm going to say something. I'm going to talk about something shocking. So I don't particularly care for Brie Larson, but I am going to say that I agree with her on this. So they have talked about that she has been hard to work with on set. I mean, that's the rumor going around. But I look at this trailer and I go, oh my gosh, if I was Brie Larson, I would be so upset that they did this.
I agree with you, Randy. Yeah, she's sidelined. But isn't it good to see that they're actually doing it to themselves now?
That character is so buffoonish in that trailer.
They've done it to themselves.
If you don't like her, then you can cheer, yay, she looks like an idiot, right? But I got to be a little bit sympathetic that they've done that to her, and I know why she's mad now. I absolutely would be mad if that was.
I totally agree. Yeah, but I would also say you.
What did she say?
Didn't
she say in an interview when she was asked? It was on like a red carpet event. She was asked, "Would you play Captain Marvel again?" And she literally, really awkwardly turned around and said, "Well, do people want me to?" And then everything just went silent. And no one answered her. Literally, no one answered her at all.
She did a promo apparently in a convention dressed up as Captain Marvel, and no one even batted an eyelid.
Oh my god!
I'll tell you what, at a comic convention, a blonde woman dressed up as Captain Marvel would normally get a bit of attention at a comic, but she just didn't, because she was probably scowling at people going, "Ugh."
Yeah, shocking.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
no, it's a stinky trailer.
But then saying that, the other trailer Marvel have released, Secret Invasion.
Well, but just quickly before we move on to that, at least the Ahsoka trailer is a trailer of a character people are interested in. Right? There's an intrigue in the character. And that's what I was saying about that core fan base are interested in seeing Ahsoka and those characters' further adventures. Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau and Ms. Marvel.
No
one's asking for any of it. No one.
Oh. And another thing that's really bad about the trailer is look at this the special effects. Oh my gosh, they're so horrible. I mean, literally,
Space 1999 bit.
That's exactly what I'm like. That's the set from Space in 1999, which came out in the 90s. Okay, and even then, we were like, well, it's a show, it's a TV show. We can't expect it to have as good a special effects as the movies, but this is going to be an actual movie, and we've been, that's been over 20 years. It's like 25, almost 30 years. Our special effects ability should be much better than that.
We weren't a sophisticated audience. We weren't a sophisticated audience in the 80s and 90s, but like times have moved on. And just quickly before we move on, that's one thing I will say about Series 3 Mandalorian. The special effects have looked great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The design work, the design, and even like I know I've moaned about the fact that like there was a scene where all the ships were in hyperdrive and they was moving, and it was an unnecessary scene, but nevertheless, I must admit this series, I know they spent money on. Apparently, it has had a big budget, but I've got to say, you can't fault them for that.
Right.
In that series, it looked good, but compared to the Marvels, this is a movie. This looked like a TV movie from the 70s, where
and
people
the costumes
around like those whatever alien things they were at the beginning on that moonscape. It looked like they was on strings. Wow, it looked like a parody of a film.
I think it's supposed to be the love and thunder of this branch of the cinematic universe.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be comedy. We're supposed to laugh at it, and it's just not going to be funny because nobody likes these characters.
And I think I heard that there's a musical in it, that they're singing. There's I mean, not the whole movie's a musical, but that they have at least one scene where it's like a music, it's like a Bollywood thing, right?
Oh, that's it. Yeah, you're right. Oh, God, yeah. Where Brie Larson gets to pull faces, because apparently that's acting nowadays. Because Brie Larson in the first Captain Marvel film was, now she goes, and there's an Academy Award. This is such an amazing, diverse film. Oh my God, it was Bollywood and. Just waiting for a white bloke to turn up. That's all I'm waiting for.
It might be worth going to see at theaters just to cringe, like to be with the audience, not cringing at it.
I will. Don't you worry. I will be there with a little torch and my notepad. Like a miner's. I'll go to the cinema with a miner's helmet on.
You're going to need to wear like 7 pairs of sunglasses just to protect yourself.
The lights either side. I can write copious notes. But compared to, and I know this hasn't gone down very well, the trailer, I think it was Liz that just said about the Secret Invasion trailer. I like
it looks more serious. It looks yeah. For once, it's a serious one.
Are we talking the second one or the first trailer?
What, for Secret Invasion?
Right.
Yeah, just the latest one with a bit more going on, and the Game of Thrones.
Right, and that goes back to what I was talking about. So the first trailer for it, there wasn't much. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. There's my complaint. It was like, okay, so they're blowing up trucks and series there and what. But in the second one, we get a better idea of what the story is. And then now I'm hooked. I'm like, okay, look, there's a story. I like that story. I would like to see what happens with that story. And so I went from like, I'm not sure that I'm going to see it to like, yeah, I'm going to go see that one because the trailer was good.
I think so. What about you, lot?
Yeah, no, I agree. Good trailer. Yeah, there's a lot in there.
Oh, the volume's gone down. What's happened to your mic? What's happened to your cockaphone?
I ain't got a clue. Is it not working?
We're getting some static on it.
Oh, wow. No, I'll
Reboot.
try and play around with it. I don't know.
While you play around with your microphone for half an hour, Liz, are you there?
He's muted also.
I'm here. I'm
there he is.
here. I didn't realize I was muted.
So unprofessional.
But tonally, you wouldn't think this is part of the same universe.
No.
And so I said back when we was all excited about everything, when they'd done this massive slate.
Yes.
I said I was excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yes.
I got shat on with that.
Yeah.
I said I was excited about Kenobi. I got kicked in the bollocks with that.
Yes.
I said I was excited about Moon Knight. I got kicked in the bollocks with that.
Should we just say every trailer that they showed us?
Yeah. And then with Secret Invasion, that was one of the ones I called very early on that I think is going to be good. And based off that trailer, and just off the trailer, because I'm not going to hold out for what the actual show's like, that trailer was what I imagined it to be. So it's
a spy thriller.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. Whether they actually do that or not is another thing. But the trailer's got me excited, and I do want to see it.
They kind of won't, will they?
I don't know what they're going to do, mate. I don't know what they're going to do.
It's a shame. That's what's annoying, because I get excited. I see the trailer, and so the first drop of that trailer, I think it was one of you lot that put it on, or it might have been Luke, like my son, who put it on. Watch this, and I watched it. I thought, oh yeah, man, Samuel Jackson, mean and moody, and the scrolls, and it was like that spy thriller vibe. And then you sit back and go, oh yeah, I'm well looking forward to that. And you think, I remember this feeling with Captain America and Winter Soldier. I remember this feeling with WandaVision. I remember even Loki. I hope with this one, I do, because of Samuel Jackson, I hope that he has demanded some integrity. I really do hope he has. Please. Yeah. That's all I'll say. But I'm going to go on record and say I'm excited. Here I go. Yeah. Here we go again.
Yeah. But what's been going on with all the trailers recently, though, man? There's been loads that have been dropped.
So spring. The springtime is spring, early summer is the time to release your big action hits. And then Christmas is another time to do like a soft, like not soft, but like also some other big ones. Typically you'll see more fantasy drop closer to Christmas time. But yeah, it's just, you're seeing them because it's March. Or is it March? Yeah. It's April now. March and April is when all the big trailers are going to come out. Like
action
coming June and July.
Yeah.
So out of all the ones, Extraction 2. That was the one I was like, oh yeah, oh yes. It was a very simple trailer, but I've got to admit, that trailer got me straight away. When his arm gets set alight, he's still punching the guy. I was just like, oh yes, here we go.
Right, Shield, he's just done. And you're thinking, your first thought is, I thought he died at the end of the. No, they explain that in the trailer. He survived all them bullets. But I'm over it, because you've got the fire bombs coming down, his arms on fire, and he's beating someone up, and he's rescuing the woman, and oh yes, and he's looking mean and moody and.
But that does exactly what we said earlier about the other trailers. Is you don't need to know that. You don't have to watch the first one. All you need to know is that he got injured, he's back, and he's on a mission.
And he's there to rescue this woman.
Yeah, that's all you need to know.
That was
That's
all.
all you need to know. Yeah, that's all you need to know.
She said.
But that was a very good trailer. That was a very good trailer. Straight in.
I thought so.
No mucking around.
That's a date, surely. That's a date.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, another great trailer was the D&D trailer. At least the early one. I know they had two. So the very first one was great in my mind because they have Chris Pine and he talks about how him and his group unleashed the greatest evil the world has ever known, but they're going to fix it. Okay. You know what? That's a story. And it's funny, right? The way he talks about it, it's funny. And I knew right away that I was going to go catch that movie because I love that premise. Once again, you know, we have good plot or a good story idea, and that's all we really need to know. Then they can show all the other stuff, all the cool stuff. If you're a D&D fan, you see all of in the trailer, you see the mimic and the displacer beast and the owl bear, and you're like, oh, it's going to be D&D. So that's what we were talking about earlier. For the D&D fans, they see the elements of D&D that they like. And for those who aren't, they've not ever played the game, they're only vaguely familiar with it, we've got that storyline about releasing the greatest evil the world has ever known, but right? They can understand that, and they can be drawn in.
But you would say it works for non-D&D? Because I played D&D when I was, you know, early teens, which was, I know it was only a few years ago. Shut up, Tayters. But I can't remember an owl, bird, and things like that. I can't. So does it work for? Again, you can't just aim a multi-million-dollar film at D&D players. As much as that's your core audience, I'm not saying dismiss them. I'm not saying ignore them.
Yeah, and I got a point to address it.
It works.
So I went to see it with my boys because we all played D&D and we loved it. And I come back and my wife goes, "You went and saw that without me?" I'm like, "You don't go to movies." My wife does not like to go to the theater. She likes to be comfortable at home and watch. She likes to stream movies and watch it there. So
you're a bit old to take girls to the pictures.
So your question, will non-gamers, non-D&D fans like it? Apparently my wife so wants to go see it. And then I have a good buddy, in fact, one of my gaming buddies, his wife, he went and took his wife, and she's like, "I don't want to go see it. It's D&D. It's that stupid game that you play." And she loved it.
I was going to say Chris Pine, to be fair, at this point. I'm thinking Chris Pine. And
Michelle Rodriguez, amazing.
She plays Michelle Rodriguez in this.
Yeah.
What?
She plays Michelle Rodriguez. What she plays in every film she does.
You know, that's okay. She played a barbarian.
To be fair.
That was my favorite character. I mean, Chris Pine does an outstanding, amazing job, and I enjoyed them all through it. But her character I enjoyed the most as the kind of dim-witted barbarian, and she just really played that well. The whole cast did a really great job on that movie, and the storyline went well. And one of the things I tend to not like a lot of the action scenes in movies, especially like in the superhero stuff, because we've seen it all before, right? I mean, you get punched through a wall, you get punched through 8 walls in a row to show how hard that punch was and everything. I can only see that so many times before I'm like, show me something else. And there are plenty of ways to make action scenes interesting, exciting, and I'll give you an example. So Captain America, when he's stuck in that elevator, that fight scene is great because it's
one of the best.
Right? They made it original. And so in this, the action scenes, I felt they took that time to try to make him original and different from all the other stuff that you're normally seeing. So they're being chased by a dragon. That's in the trailers, right? That is a fat dragon. Oh my gosh. that makes that scene so great. This big fat dragon chasing him and rolling and sliding and everything. So, you know, they took the standard trope of like, we're being chased by the big monster, and they changed it around. And it was
I'm with you. Yeah.
So yeah, I love the movie. I totally loved it. I can't wait to go see it again.
Do you think you might have been lost in the Easter traffic of Mario? Like,
I think it's a different audience.
I don't know.
It's doing well.
I'm thinking that. No, I don't know how well it's done, but I don't think it's exactly a blockbuster, is it? Or is it in the States?
It's doing pretty good.
Oh,
I mean, it's not like Top Gun last year, right? It's not at that level, but it is definitely going to make its money back. It's going to be successful.
Oh.
And I think as more word gets out, more people see it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that was good." That we'll get more people seeing it.
Mario's smashing it, apparently, isn't it?
Yeah. Tayters, you've seen it, haven't you? I was well gelled. He had young kids dragged to the cinema to watch it. I didn't. I literally couldn't go to the cinema over the Easter holidays with young children.
Because you don't have any.
Which I don't have anymore. Just go on my own, like this old man in the cinema watching Mario. Yeah.
I would do that.
I'm only here for
totally
film while I'm eating my popcorn. I'm only here for the film, children. I'm only here for the film. I'm going next week anyway, when the kids have gone back to school. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait.
Enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. It's definitely your sort of film.
Yes. Your sound's gone a bit again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm liking it, though. I'm liking it. Don't adjust it.
Did any whilst he's sorting out, did anyone see the Penguin teaser?
Oh, he has that.
Yeah, that's it. That's better, mate. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes, I did. What did you think, Liz? It's only a teaser trailer, so
it's only a teaser trailer, but the part. So if they were going to do it like the one shots, like they've done with the One Bad Days and the graphic novels, then maybe to a degree, but Penguin really only works with Batman. And basically what they've done in this grounded Matt Reeves universe of Batman is they've turned him into Sopranos.
Yeah, he's a gangster with a gun.
Yeah, and that's literally all it is. And unless Batman's going to turn up in it, I'm not really interested, to be honest. And I'm a massive Batman fan.
Yeah. No.
Well, what about like what they did with Joker? Is that what they're trying to do? I haven't seen the trailer.
Yeah, but even like I've said in the past, they're grounding this stuff so much now.
I think based on what Amber just said, I think they're going to try and do that sort of thing. But the reason Joker worked is because Joker's...
Because Joaquin Phoenix?
Well, not only that, though, they had the Batman elements in there. Yeah. They tied it in with, at the end with, he sees a young Bruce, it's the Thomas Wayne arc. You see the end where, they get murdered, etc. You had that bit in there. And the Joker is a character you can do that deep character study on. The Penguin's just a gangster. You can't really do that deep character study on the Penguin. You could, but I don't know anyone that would really want to see it.
Unless you're going to do this as the Penguin is your hero and Batman is the villain. I would love that. I think that would be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be.
That was a Superman Batman, wasn't it? Where Superman is
Superman, is the villain.
Batman, and that's what I loved about Affleck. He was a bastard in that film, The Dawn Justice. He was a bastard. He was the old, grizzled, miserable Batman that had failed to clean up Gotham of crime. I loved him for that. I loved Affleck's Batman. End of Days, but no, the Penguin. It's a spin-off. That it's product. It's his content.
Yeah,
same.
We're talking of spin-off and content. So we spoke about John Wick the other week.
The Continental.
Continental, yeah.
Incontinental, as Liz called it earlier.
I'm sorry, I'm not interested. I'm not interested
already.
Yeah, John Wick as a franchise of films with Keanu Reeves kicking ass, doing what he does, just stupid action, over the top, to turn your head off, just watch people shoot and kill each other, all good. Don't try and expand on it. Come on. You're trying to turn it into the same old John Wick is something nice with those 4 films. Don't give us a prequel series about how the hotel was organized. I don't care. Like, the universe they've created around John Wick works within the surroundings of John Wick's story. Don't give us I don't care about how the hotel was created. I don't care about how Winston became in charge of the New York branch. I don't care about that. I don't want to see it.
Like we were saying earlier about Star Wars, a bit of mystery. Just leave it.
Yeah.
Leave
it
it
alone.
Like I've got a few stories in my head about how that happened, and it looked like a Giorgio Armani perfume advert.
Yeah.
And all that, and
but the fact it's called the Continental, from the world of John Wick, it's just like, why do I know the history of the hotel? The hotel's mysterious and it's cool and it works within the constraints of the John Wick film. I don't want to see a whole thing just based on that hotel and how it came to be, how we know it. I don't care.
I did like the 70s era vibe of it.
Well, it's a young Winston, isn't it?
Yeah, but is that the Ian McShane character?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that the one at the end where he just looks up at the what's it?
I think so, yeah. I think that's supposed to be him.
Well, is there enough interest in the side characters, do you think, in John Wick, in these origin characters, to want to see a movie about them? Because a movie cannot be about a hotel. It cannot be about an organization. It has to be about somebody or some groups of somebody.
He had that montage of all the weird characters at the end, didn't it? You had these weird...
Yeah. It's about the assassins. Yeah, it's about the assassins.
So,
Winston himself is a cool character, but he's cool because of Ian McShane. A young version of him, not necessarily cool. He's cool because of Ian McShane, and he's cool because he's a cool side character that's very very formal with how he does things. He does his business, he gets it sorted, but you don't need to know his backstory of how he claimed that hotel.
I'll be surprised if we get more than one season.
Yeah,
I think we're all yearning for new, aren't we?
Yeah. Bring something new.
Just yearning for new. Put your hand up if you want to see something that isn't a book or a play or that F word. Fucking franchise.
That's the thing.
That's where it's fallen off.
Someone comes along. Someone has dared to create.
But how buzzing were we after John Wick 4, and now we get this trailer for the Continental or Incontinental. We were buzzing after John Wick 4, but it was buzzing after John Wick 4. But now we've got the Incontinental. We've got the Ballerina film that's coming out. But still, come on.
Bad about a ballerina.
The Ballerina as a film, cool, but don't have it tied to John Wick.
Yeah, just if you want to, if we're going to keep the hogCAST as our little group, just leave Anna. Just leave Anna out of it.
I'm leaving her alone, so I don't have Keanu Reeves in it.
As an alien, you might not appreciate Anna de Armas's womanly wiles.
Don't get me wrong, I appreciate her. I definitely appreciate her, mate, but come on.
You're treading on very thin ice.
but what I'm saying is the concept of the ballerina and Anna de Armas is awesome, but don't have it tied to John Wick.
It's not.
Don't have it tied to John Wick. Don't have it tied to John Wick. Just have a ballerina film with Anna de Armas where she's this assassin ballerina going off doing her thing. You don't have it tied to John Wick.
No, Liz, they have to. It's the F word again. It's franchise.
Yeah, it
John
is.
Wick franchise. It's this franchise. Oh, that's what I mean. Like, imagine someone just dropping a fresh film, which, by the way, John Wick was. I don't know what year that was released.
Mm-hmm.
As like the Daisy,
2014, I think.
Actioner, which just rocked, didn't it? It rocked and rolled. It just went. It had it had heart to it, which I loved. The fact that it was easy. It was like the ABC of how to just do a little action film.
Yeah,
a bit like Die Hard when they did that.
Yeah,
but they applied themselves to it to make it work. Like, why do we want to follow him through this action? What's it? Love it. I know, because Randy, like you say about the family element of stuff.
Right.
You could apply that to Predator. the dysfunctional family element of storylines. You know, so they all turn up in an helicopter. But before that helicopter lands, we've already established they are a family.
Yeah.
Of guys that have been on, they don't say it, they don't land and go, we have been on many successful missions together, and we will now walk and meet more people and explain more, which is what's going on now. They just, they was able to just land this fucking helicopter and someone's spitting tobacco, someone's telling a stupid joke, someone's getting his muscles out, and Arnie's shaking hands with Creed.
But I think it's a result of believing that we have to appeal to the TikTok generation, because they have to be told things. They have to be, you know, like, think about humor today is so focused on coming out in the dialogue. And I miss situational humor. I miss humor that you're not asking for it in the script. It just happens because that situation is hilarious or what I'm looking at is funny. You know, and what you're talking about is we call it show, don't tell in writing, which I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with. And nobody in the TikTok generation, everything is told to you with quick dialogue, very fast, text on the screen, and then done, moving on to the next video.
Well,
so that's go ahead.
Imagine if the Naked Gun was remade today. Imagine that. Imagine that. It would not be nowhere near what it was. And me and the Hog have watched Naked Gun quite a few times.
Yes. And all the humor would be in dialogue. Like, it would be, and it would be spitfire, really quick, moving on. I mean, I just think about Velma. Like, all the humor was in the dialogue, and it's getting very old. I think they need to look back at some older films like The Naked Gun, like I'm even thinking about The Princess Bride. Although it had a lot of funny dialogue, it was a lot of situational humor, just like that everything was so dramatic for them. Look back at some of these older films. I showed a movie to, I forget, actually, this has happened a couple times in the last couple of months, showing an older movie to a friend who is very much on the boat with everybody else, watching just the movies that come out today, and they think it's funny, or they think that, wow, this is really great storytelling. But then you show them something older and they go, when was this made?
Yeah.
And I say, well, this was in the 80s, or this is from the 90s. And they're going, really? Because this is like better than anything I've seen today. And I go, I know that what you're seeing is you're trying to make movies for people who you think are incapable of watching a movie, but they are, you're just not giving it to them.
Yeah. Explaining every single thing. I mean, I know I take the piss out of the stuff I review, but it's like, why did you have to tell me that? It never used to be that way. You really did. You could allude to, like you say, you can just show and not tell. You know, this door will open from the inside and not pushed outwards. You know, I don't have to walk to the door and say, I hope I have to pull the handle. I don't smash my face on it. It literally is getting absurd now.
No.
But it's insulting towards the audience, though, isn't it? Because they're assuming everyone's dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
And to address that, if I might, so my daughter Lucy, so she's been on the Right Advice, right? So she's the one who does the gamer point of view. So because I make my kids watch the older stuff, right? And she has learned to really appreciate what great stories there are in some of the older stuff. So her friends will come over and she'll like, oh, you got to watch this. You have to watch this movie. This is so great. And she will show them the older great stories, movies, you know, just tons of that old stuff. And they're like, wow, that is really good. I didn't know that there was this movie. And so I think you're right. I mean, this generation might be in that mindset because that's what they're being given, but they are fully capable of appreciating a well-written story and original plot. Yeah.
They're not that stupid for some reason.
Right, they're not stupid, yeah.
Well, the test is, off the top of your head right now,
saying these kids are too stupid to understand anything
well, the top of your head,
explain to them.
Off the top of your head right now, name a film within the last 3 years that you'd go back and watch again. And you could watch it multiple times.
Dune.
Top Gun.
June. That's it, yeah. One.
Yeah,
but then you go back, a lot of the films that I rewatch are all from the 90s,
Yep.
80s, naughty, like early noughties. But the last 3 years, June
Nothing.
and possibly the Joker. I think that was just within the 3-year gap, I think. They're the only two. And that just shows how starved we are. For me, there's two. For you, there's just June. Randy, have you got one for the last 3 years?
The Dungeons and Dragons movie, I loved it. I felt it was a really solid story. It's at the core, it's about family. And I'll talk about this a lot. Good stories often are about family. And you just brought it up with Predator. That is a dysfunctional military family, right? And so there's a lot of ways to define family. And in Dungeons and Dragons, we have a dysfunctional fantasy adventuring family. All right. And to me, I loved it. I'm going to see it again with my wife. If other friends want to go see it because they haven't seen it, I am ready to go 3-4 times and see it because I enjoyed it so much. So yeah, I think we get an occasional, but your point's well taken. These are far and few between.
And it's like you're saying, Randy, about family, which for me and Liz have had many a conversation about. Well, I've said we've had this discussion about there's a heart to a film, whether it's action, sci-fi. What was the heart of it? And there was a quote from James Cameron when the Terminator come out, and he said it's a love story. And you think, and this was in Fangoria magazine. He was doing an interview. And it's in a horror magazine. And Terminator, this is before the film was landed. And no one, this is, imagine a time before the Terminator would hit the screens. And he said, yeah, this is a love story. But when you think about it, all the other stuff, the robot, the time traveling, the action is dressing. It's,
right.
It's John Connor. It's the time travel story of John Connor falling in love with Sarah Connor.
Right, absolutely.
And sorry, not John Connor.
Not quite, but yeah.
Sarah Connor. Sorry, thanks, mate.
But those cores of family and love stories.
That's the heart of it. The heart is
that core of like family and love stories that goes across other genres as well. Like it's not a film, but TV show, Haunting of Hill House, and even up to Midnight Mass. There is that element of, especially in Midnight Mass, you've got that love story between the main guy and the girl on the island, and the community within that island and their connections with each other. In Hill House, you've got a literal family, and even Bly Manor, there was it was a love story.
I'm missing old Flanagan, to be fair.
Yeah, but overall, he's coming back soon.
Yeah, it's something adult, not that silly.
Yeah, no, he's doing the it's the Edgar Allan Poe stuff he's doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's doing the
I can get behind that.
Full House of Usher, and Mark Hamill's in it as well.
Let me read you. I've got the complete tales of Poe.
But those cores that Randy's talking about, that translates across so many different genres, and you can make it work. I mean, Fast and Furious has made it work. All they talk about is fucking family in them films, but still,
family.
That core element of it, that heart to it, makes things work. But it's not happening at the moment. Like I say, everything's so few and far between. If you was to name films that you go back and rewatch, last 3 years we can name 1, 2. It used to be you could name 10. So something's gone wrong massively across the board.
Well, so Randy and I had different experiences with Dungeons and Dragons. Like I was not interested in seeing the movie from the trailer. To me, it looked like another Marvel movie, except fantasy. But I went, my brother-in-law has played D&D before, so he was interested in going and seeing it. And the two of us went, and nobody in the theater laughed at most of the stuff in it that we went to. And we didn't find it funny, except for we thought it was entertaining. I felt entertained through the whole thing. I felt like it was mildly funny all the way through, but I only laughed out loud 5 times. And only one of those times was like, really like more real laugh. My biggest beef with that film was that it was so action heavy, is that there was always, and it was like little side quests, like so many of them,
one after another. We have to go and talk to the dead guys. Okay, now we have to go and I forget what the heck that they were doing underground, but they were underground for a time. And I just felt like we were constantly going on these little mini side quests. And, thinking back in the day, there was typically you're starting at point A, you maybe have like one detour, and then you get to where you're supposed to be. It felt like so much was going on the way that there wasn't for me enough time to explore the found family within. Like, I felt like the guy who was the magician and the girl who was the shapeshifter, I didn't feel them being part of this family like I felt with the Chris Pine's character and the barbarian girl. Like, I love the barbarian girl too. She was the best. By far, she was the best character. And I also didn't feel a huge trying to go back and get my daughter feeling from this, because we were so distracted by all these events happening on the way. And again, this felt like this is for the TikTok group. They need to constantly have something going on, because you cannot pause and breathe and really explore some of these things. Like my nephew, I put him in front of a movie, really old one that I loved as a kid, at his age, The Black Stallion. There's no dialogue in that movie for the first 45 to 50 minutes. It's just a kid surviving on an island and then befriending a horse, and then he gets rescued. And then after that, there's very little dialogue. And he was totally mesmerized because he's immersed in it. And I don't think that people believe that kids are capable of this. And I will say this, I do think that, yes, it's hard to get them to sit down and try it. But once they've done it, they feel satisfied. They get to the end, and it is something that they want to watch again and again, because there's so much left to explore in something that isn't said, as opposed to just, let's shoot out our dialogue, let's talk to a zombie, and then let's move on to the dragon,
That horse wasn't the same horse. The horse that rescued that boy wasn't the same horse that from Rings of Power, was it? The heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of it down to the AI.
I think it had a heart attack when it had to redo that stunt with Galadriel flipping off of the saddle.
Your face, man. Series 2 on the way, folks. Yay!
Awesome.
Yeah. But I think that we're just not giving them stuff that they can really sink their teeth into. We're force feeding them, and we're assuming that the only way to keep them entertained is to throw more action at them. And yeah, they're not going back and watching these again and again. Like you said, there are no movies that I've seen except for Dune that I'll go back and watch again and again. Like, what did I watch this weekend? I watched Empire of the Sun and October Sky. They're both easily 30 years or older.
Yeah.
So, well, 20, I guess, for October Sky. But I think we need to reconsider what kids really want. I think that they don't understand it, but then once they're exposed to it, they get it. Like Randy and his kids and their friends.
You're right.
They come over, sit down and watch this and just give it a try. And then they come out going, that was amazing.
And they will, like we did. Like, you get a film put in front of you 30, 40 years ago that you feel,
See, generational wise.
It is AI. It is algorithms that tell the investment houses that put the money forward for these films what's going to work. And I'm not even joking. It is AI. It's not even an advisor that says, well, yeah, this is from a book, or this is from a play, or this.
Just going off what Amber just said. So just touching on Star Wars quickly. So the prequels were for my generation. I was Phantom Menace came out in 99. I was 9. But before that, my mum sat me down, and I still remember it, and sat me down in front of Star Wars, the original trilogy of Star Wars. And I'd seen it at home. She'd rented it from the old video shop. And I remember sitting down Saturday night, and it was each week you'd take the video back and then go and get the next video and all that. So every weekend for 3 weeks, I'd watch the original trilogy of Star Wars. Then they re-released them in the cinema. My mum dragged me to them and saw that the originals in the cinema for the re-releases when George Lucas decided to update a few things. So for me, it wasn't the prequels that got me into Star Wars. It was Star Wars that got me into it because I was sat down in front of it and watched this. She also got me into Stargate. A lot of the sci-fi that I watched was because my mum sat me down in front of it and told me to watch it.
I had the exact same experience as you. I was, as a kid, watching the original 4. Well, I'm almost 40 years old, so I was, I think, in high school or middle school when the prequels came out. But then my little brother, again, he must have been 6 or 7, and I did have to hold his head and face it towards the screen. I was like, "You're gonna watch that?" No, I literally did, because he wasn't getting it with the laser guns and stuff. But I said, "Wait. Luke is over at Obi-Wan Kenobi's house. Watch this part." And it went, and all of a sudden he just went, and I let go of his head, and he was hooked, you know.
Yeah.
But
he's not bleeding from the ears.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that's, you know, it was the older movies, I think, that attracted a lot of people to even the prequels. And you know this because how much of the original 3 was an introduction to the Jedi world? What did it start out with? It started out with Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi attacking the Viceroy ship, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you would go in there and like, whoa, special effects heavy guys with lightsabers. But in the first movie, in episode 4, the first time you see a lightsaber is when Obi-Wan Kenobi is explaining, this is your father's lightsaber, you know, and telling him about the Jedi Order. It is the introduction to it. So I don't think that people went into the prequels without having seen the first 3.
But going off that though, so we're saying that different generations of Star Wars, the generation that's the sequel trilogy, that's their Star Wars. That generation that's out there, where the sequel trilogy is their Star Wars, by the same effect, they should have seen all the others to a degree to be able to appreciate what they've seen in the sequel trilogy. Even if they've watched the sequel trilogy first and gone, "Oh my God, I like that. There's more of these films. I want to go back." When they go back, surely they're looking at the sequel trilogy now going, "What a piece of shit." Because they've seen how good it was back then. So, so with all the stuff we're seeing now, even if you're pulling people into that world, as soon as people realize there's a bigger world to it and then go back and see how good it was, they're going to be turned off from that world. And I think that's sort of where we're getting with all the franchise stuff. Say, for example, with Marvel, people, the next generation coming up were a bit too young or not really interested in it. And then Phase 4 comes out. Their first introduction into Marvel was Phase 4. And they're going, "Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm liking this." Bit fucking mental, but they're liking it.
Yeah.
And then they go, "Oh, there's more of this." And they go back to the original first 3 phases.
Yeah.
And they see how good that is. Then they're going to be dropping off and going, "Hang on a minute, what I just watched was terrible. Like, what the hell's going on?" It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't get it.
You call it the learning curve.
Oh, God. There's one trailer we haven't covered.
Blue Beetle.
Oh.
I was going to say Indy 5. I forgot about Blue Beetle.
Oh, yeah.
There's 2 trailers.
Indy 5 too.
Wow. There's 2 trailers we ain't covered.
The new one looks better than the old one for Indy.
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely. That first trailer they put out was terrible.
What was that soundtrack they threw on that though at the beginning?
Rolling Stones, like
they wanted to throw you off, so you weren't sure what you were watching. I swear, I think that's what it was for, so that people are like, "What am I looking at? Am I looking at some sort of a Harrison Ford has, you know, like some adventurous past thing?" And then like, guess what? It's Indiana Jones, and you're like, "Yeah, we knew that."
That wakes the old man up. Literally wakes him up at the beginning of the trailer, and you think, so now you want me to go and watch a film about an old man who's just been woken up, and he's a creaky old geezer that it doesn't. Why not start with that music and give me the hat and the whip and give? He was James Bond in the.
Yeah, but something a friend of mine raised to me the other day.
Got Fleabag going. "Oh, aren't I so clever?" I'm his god.
But something that was
She wasn't that bad in this second trailer. She did not irritate me as
trailer,
much. She did not bug me. I was like, I'm not going to go see this in that first trailer. But this second one, I was like, okay, she's toned down a little bit. So I'm hoping that's what the reshoots have been. The reshoots have been to minimize her character, to amplify him a bit. I'm not really going for the whole like, oh no, we're going to wake up an old geezer thing. I think that originally that's what it was supposed to be. And him going, I don't have the energy for this, so I'm passing the baton. Yeah. But I think maybe now what they're going to do is they're going to, no, you do still have it. That's the only way to save it.
Yeah, but he was too old for this shit in Indy 4. A friend of mine said, sort of like mentioned this to me the other day. I've never seen Indy 4. I wasn't interested in it.
Same.
So I've never seen it. But in that one, he's an old guy that's too old for this shit, that has a son that's going to be taken over from him. So hang on a minute.
Indy 3, he was Sean Connery, didn't they? They kind of went.
Yeah, it's just
kind of like squeezed the teat of that trope. In Indy 3, so Indy 4 was a sequel really that no one wanted, and now like Indy 5. But again, that teat, that it's dry now, and it's dry and it's long and it's shriveled, but they're still squeezed. And this is all that can come out of it.
Is Luke Skywalker drinking from it?
This is like something new. Just all this creative talent that these corporations must have, and just put the call out for one new idea.
And I think just stop making so much stuff. I think that they've thinned out their talent. I think that's a big problem.
Well, they've got to now, haven't they? You look at all the Marvel stuff's been pushed back. I mean, fuck knows what I'm going to talk about on my channel for the next few weeks. I need them to give me more shit, man, that I can take the piss out of. I'm going to have to go back in time, I think.
Hog, have you read One Piece? Because I know that the One Piece is a manga, I think. Oh yeah, you do. Well, you don't really do mangas, but they're coming out with a live action of One Piece, and the One Piece crowd is going nuts. So I think it's going to be terrible. But if you're looking for Netflix is apparently putting all their eggs into One Piece and Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like these are the two shows they are hoping will save Netflix.
Well, and two minds though, Amber, because they did Arcane, and I know that wasn't strictly manga, but bear with me.
But I think that was a surprise hit. I don't think that they realized it was going to be as big as it is.
And Cowboy Bebop, they
that was just
shit all over that.
Well, if you're looking, what I'm saying is if you're looking maybe for something for your channel, I think One Piece could be a good transition or good, like, in between while we're waiting for more DC and Marvel and what other comics to come out. But because it falls into that wheelhouse, adaptation.
I think I might go back.
She-Hulk. Okay.
Take the piss out of that again. So just do it daily. Just go back to when, what was it? What was the first Marvel thing they did? WandaVision.
Yeah.
Episode 1. And the Star Wars stuff. What was that? Kenobi? Was that their first?
No.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett was before Kenobi.
No,
Mandalorian was the. Are you talking about what was their first, or what was the first?
Mandalorian was the first Star Wars TV show.
Was he asking that, or is he asking what's the first piece of crap?
Oh,
well, same thing.
Okay.
I'm just going to take the piss out of it daily. Each episode, I'll do one Marvel, then one Star Wars. That'll give me a year's worth, I reckon. I hope it all comes good, though, eh?
Yeah.
I want to go back to the next Indy movie. I think that there could be a possibility. I mean, I don't think that they're going to do this, but I think with the right creative team behind it, there's still room for another movie. Earlier, we were talking about action scenes, and we see the same thing over and over and over again. And but Indy, the original movie, has a great scene where he's going to pull out the whip and he's going to have a fight with the guy, and instead he pulls out the gun and shoots him, right?
Yeah, that was improv, wasn't it?
It was improv. But the thing is, That was a different action scene. That was original, right? So Indy's old. All the stuff that in the past that he has done is not going to work. So if you went in with the premise that we're going to have a basic storyline, whatever it is, he's got some artifact, but all the action scenes are going to come from the point of view that this guy is old and he can't do those things, and he has to come up with something new.
He's got to outwit the villain rather
He's got to outwit them, right? So, I mean, really, there is a golden opportunity there that you come away from that film if you have an okay mystery or treasure hunt or whatever, and you go in and like, we know that Indy's old, and we're going to play on that. It could be a good movie.
And what you've just said, yes.
Yeah. That was the failing the first time, though, wasn't it? They were getting Fleabag to basically come in. Indy's old, and she's going to do everything for him.
It's still going to be
and save him.
Don't have someone coming in and save him. It's still him.
That's it. That's the rewrites. That's the reshoots.
Yeah. She's just going to mock him. She's just going to say, "Yeah, I'm younger and better and stronger." And
well, she was.
But I didn't see any of that in the second trailer.
Yeah, in that second trailer, they changed it.
Yeah.
They
I got a very good sense of her character there. Like, she's like, but you're Indiana Jones. Like you almost got the sense that they've rewritten her character to be someone aspiring to be him.
Yes. Whereas in the first trailer, she was taking on his role.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't see that. So you're both saying that. That's interesting, because now I will rewatch it. But I honestly didn't see that.
It's because you're in that perpetual state of
which I understand.
That's interesting. What Amber brought up is interesting,
and it will be that. It will be that. You know I'm going to be right. You know I'm going to be right.
What I would do with that is I would have her, right? She likes Indy and she wants to be like Indy, right? And so she does all the things that Indy would have done when he was younger, and they don't work. And we see Indy having to, like you said, have to outwit them in a different way, in a non-athletic way, and to see those things start working. To me, that would be a different enough take on Indy and the series. It would show him progressing, and I think you could get a really interesting film out of that. Of course, the chances that they do that are none. So
yeah, like him being an over-the-hill hero, meeting an over-the-hill villain, but maybe he's got the sidekick that is a young buck, like he could be Fleabag, and she's got all the enthusiasm, but it's not working. Like, she's just banging against a brick wall because these two old foes are working against each other in their own way. But that might be too comedic. But without Lucas and Spielberg, they should have just left it alone.
Well, they wanted to do another one, didn't they? Lucas and Spielberg wanted to do another one.
And after I don't buy into it. Don't buy into that fucking actress, that woman at all. And she's just fucking ruin it. You don't need it. Look at the women they had in the first two Raiders films. They were the strong, independent women that they all cry about. But no, we need
But Lucas and Spielberg, after the fourth one, wanted to do a fifth one. And they couldn't think of what the hell to do because they knew the story had ended. That's why they didn't do it.
Road, and they know when to fail.
Yes, exactly. So for me, I'm not interested really, to be honest.
Same.
I liked the first two. I didn't like the third one. Never bothered with the fourth one.
You didn't like the third one? Wow.
No.
Oh, interesting.
I enjoyed the third one a lot.
I like the first two. The first two were good.
But I mean, take Indy, like take that first movie as a sample. It's just like you've got a whole film where you don't actually need the main character. That's the crazy bit of that film. There's not one part of that movie where Indy actually makes a difference. Because if he wasn't in the film, the Germans still get the thing. They still go to the mountain. They still get melted.
Okay.
There's not one part of that film that he's actually important to.
Well, wait, he's the one who discovers where the Ark is.
Yeah, okay, but if he hadn't discovered it, she would.
I mean, come on, that's
and when that German guy went there, he would get it off of her.
Right, but he also learned how big the staff has to be,
because the guy only had the one side of the imprint on his hand. The other side had the measurements.
Right,
so
and then
would have had the object.
I think also it was the wrong hole too, like the thing that you stick it in.
That's what she said.
That's all on the other side of that thing that got melted into that guy's hand.
So the Taters' point.
The film, it was great.
It was a great film.
It was good, yeah.
So the Taters' point, without Indy, they don't ever find the Ark, so they're never a threat to the world. And World War II eventually ends, and maybe someone else finds the Ark rather than them. So you're right. Indy is unimportant to the storyline.
The overall plot, watch it again, and all the little plots, like Amber just said, he needs that amulet to know how long that staff is and where to put it. Whereas the German guy gets the amulet, one side of it burnt into his hand. He's only got half the information. So if Indy wasn't around, they would have got the amulet from the girl. They would have known exactly where to put the staff, exactly where to find it.
Oh, okay.
Tayters, how do you apply that logic to Indiana Jones?
Watch it properly. Watch it with your hog mind.
And you just turn off your brain. Anything Star Wars.
Watch it with your hog mind. Hey, I still love Indiana Jones. I still love Indiana Jones. I'll watch it over and over again.
1% of that logic you've just applied to Indiana Jones. With Star Wars, you can't even apply any logic. You just go, yeah.
you know me too well.
Wow. You just apply logic to Indiana Jones.
Isn't the latest one, though, the Dial of Destiny, supposed to be about time travel?
Mind, actually. Yeah.
Isn't the latest one supposed to be about time travel, though?
That's the impression I'm getting. And there's one moment where they show Indy and he looks de-aged.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Have they used his face from Apocalypse Now?
His face.
That's one for all the cinema geeks, isn't it? Do you remember that?
I wish that they would tone down the special effects. I did see less of it in the second trailer, but I still saw enough of it that I'm just saying one of the cool things about older movies, especially like Indiana Jones, is that they did things practically. Like they had this airplane that was, with the propellers going, rotating around on the tarmac. That kind of thing, it does so well cinematically. And Maverick has proven this. So why are they still reverting to CGI when it doesn't look as good? It's not as impressive anymore. Like, we're not sitting there going, wow, did you see those special effects? Those were freaking amazing. The only time I've done that in ages is the new Avatar Blue people. And honestly, I was just going, that looked like real. Like it did. That was it.
It kind of sucked you in.
Yeah, but I wasn't sitting there going, that was amazing special effects. And I feel like if they were to put out an Indiana Jones where they did that, where they said, we're going to film this as if this was the 80s, where we're going to do as much of this practically as possible, people would love it. And just that one element alone, I know that that's like a visual aspect. It's not anything else. It feels like they've put the effort into making this something organic as opposed to like the fast food movies again.
Yeah.
And they're so scared of finding a new Indiana Jones. Like the adventure he had after the last one in the 40s or the 50s, get a new actor to play Indiana Jones. Do you remember when Sean Connery said, fuck off, James Bond, I'm going to do some films? And they got Roger Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was everyone going, no, this isn't James Bond? It was a different James Bond, but we're just at that stage now, and it is all down to Dismal. It really is. They've got a stranglehold on so much stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and they just can't let go, and they just can't try something new for once and get. I don't know how old Harrison Ford was in the first Indy film, but you can't tell me there isn't a decent
But again, it's flogging. But again, it's flogging the IP though. Again, isn't it? Why can't they just have an adventure story set in the 30s?
Yeah. Again, yeah, you're spot on. You're spot, or not even in the 30s. Just give us another story, like I said earlier, original character.
Yeah.
You know. I don't know, but they just clinging on. They just cling on to these crusty old franchises because the AI is telling them that this is the way.
I have spoken.
Yes.
I do want to point out that Connery went back and did another Bond movie after that.
What's that?
He did.
I want to point out that Connery went back and did another one.
Because he said
never say never again.
He never
because
said never. It had Mr. Bean in it as well.
He told them, I will never do another Bond movie. And so they made fun of that in the title.
And it's a bit like Daniel Craig when he said, no, that's my last Bond. And they went, 50 million? And he went, I'll do one more. No, I want to be an actor now. I've done some great films.
And you can tell he had a ball of a time.
Yeah,
doing
50
that last
million.
one.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, he was well happy. He was well happy as Bond, wasn't he? The happiest Bond I've ever seen.
I mean, Bond's dead now in it as well, to be fair.
When you get married and have a kid, you're never going to be that happy, are you? Fucking smoke fags, didn't he have a drink? He used to have a beer, didn't he? Smoke fags, shake all the birds. Oh, the last one, he's crying. He's got a daughter, he's got a wife. Oh, fucking hell, he's up to here in it, isn't he? It was so exciting. It was just the way when I go in to watch a James Bond film, it was everything I wanted to see in a James Bond film. Yeah, I want to see him crying. Yeah,
See, a part of me wants
cry,
the
mate.
next...
I've got a daughter as well. You cry, mate.
See, a part of me wants Cavill to be the next Bond, but I'm too scared of what they will do with it. I kind of want him to stay clear, to be honest.
I think we've got a glimpse. You've seen the new Doctor Who. I think that's what they're going to do with Bond.
Oh, God knows.
We're going to see a complete new Bond for
God
the
knows.
generation.
Well, did you see who they announced as M?
Oh, wait, I've got a channel to promote.
Did you see who they announced as M?
Yes.
Oh.
And I don't know who she is.
Oh.
A couple of people told me, yeah, she's a great comedy actress, but this is the head of MI6, man.
Shocking, isn't it?
They just don't care.
Okay, I'm not in on the joke, so I don't know who they have scheduled for M, and I don't know who the new Doctor Who is.
Right, just Google. I can't remember the actress's name now, but she's a comedy actress that basically plays this council estate. I can't remember even what she does, to be honest, but she's not M. She's not M at all.
And
yeah,
diverse.
It's horrendous. It's horrendous.
The new diverse Doctor Who.
I haven't seen that. Yeah,
man, you're in for a treat, mate.
I don't know that treat's the word.
Yeah.
That apparently means something different to you.
That's it. Daisy May Cooper's the one.
Okay.
Right.
Daisy May Cooper.
It's a whole new adventure for a very diverse and inclusive world. So who am I to stop anyone?
I don't know who the hell this lady is. I don't recognize her face at all.
Just quickly, has everyone realised how female the Force is now?
Yeah.
I've got to admit.
Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, Rey. It's women again. It's the same thing that happened to Marvel. It's happening to Star Wars.
I've got to admit, it's winding me up a little bit. It's so blatant now that it's like, oh, come on, there has got to be somewhere. Only like, a little bit. I'm up for anything. But
that's the pendulum swings, though, isn't it?
This isn't equality, is it? This isn't equality because it's not equal, is it? If there was one China man, one black man, one brown man, one white man, that would be equality. Oh, one woman, bestest ever. But what we've got now isn't equality, is it?
Yeah, but people are missing the fact that in Star Wars, you've always had Princess Leia, who's been a very strong female character all the way through. All the way through. There's a reason she's iconic. Do Do you know what I mean? There's a reason she's iconic. You've
No.
always had that.
Right.
What's that?
Not as good as Ray, because she's getting a new film.
Is she, or is she just coming back as like one of the supporting characters?
No, she's coming back as the leader of the new Jedi.
Yeah.
Well, okay, she could be the leader of the new
master.
Jedi, but is she the? But typically, the master is not the lead character. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi was not supposed to be the lead in Star Wars, the first three.
Oh, that's a good point, Amber. Because if her
They said it was a Rey-centric film.
Yeah.
They said it was a they said it was a Rey-centric film set 15 years after Rise of Skywalker, and it focuses on Rey building a new Jedi Order.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
Now, but that's literally what they should have done with Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
that is Luke Skywalker's arc they're doing.
Mm.
I mean, if the pregnancy thing's true, then that's not part of Luke Skywalker's arc, but it's
could have been.
It's the arc. But what new are we going to? And the fact that at the end of Rise of Skywalker, when she basically just assumes the name of Skywalker when she's a Palpatine, it's so at the end of Rise of Skywalker, right? Palpatine says, "If you strike me down, I'll live on within you." And basically, Palpatine's egging her on to kill him, so that way he can assume her body, and then she does kill him.
I don't know how you know this. I only watched it once.
But then she dies, and then she's brought back to life, and so technically, he for me, that's kind of what I thought was okay.
Yeah.
So she dies, so technically, Palpatine's spirit going on within her dies as well, and then she's resurrected by Kylo Ren, who technically was a Skywalker, kind of. He was a Skywalker solo. So now she considers herself like resurrected by him. So rebirth, the new Skywalker. Like, believe me, I had to dig real freaking deep for that one, but that's what I came up with. So Palpatine is dead because she died while she was still a Palpatine, but then she was reborn as a Skywalker. That's the summary.
See, the biggest twist they could possibly do was that Palpatine didn't die, and that he lived on. But then he lived on in her. She's Palpatine. She's been possessed by Palpatine. That's the only thing I could think that would actually be interesting. But it's not going to be that. And the biggest mistake they did with those sequels was, one, getting Rian Johnson, but two, bringing Palpatine back, because it diminishes Darth Vader's sacrifice. Your main character.
They needed a big bad, and they only had like 5 minutes to get it done.
I feel like the only other good thing is any one of these films is at least 3 years away.
Yeah.
At least. It doesn't matter what the bullshit they're giving you. It's at least, no one's put pen to paper yet. So even for Dismal, they can't rush these. You can't rush a 300 million.
Well, that's the point, though, isn't it? On any of the announcements, did they actually put a date to it on any of these announcements? That's the one thing I didn't see.
I think the earliest announcement they got in terms of date was 2026.
Yeah, exactly. They're lying through they're lying through their teeth to keep the share price where it is and give us something to chew on for celebration. Okay. So
hand
the job for another few weeks.
So Star Wars is on its knees, and you need to get intrigue and get the fans back. Round table right now. If you had to, we're part of Lucasfilm. You need to come up with a Star Wars idea that's going to entice people, that's going to keep this company going. What idea would you do? Round table right now. What would you do?
I told you before, the Wookiees, Kashyyyk.
I think that's a good idea.
Fighting the Empire. You've got the technology there from the Planet of the Apes. They've got the Planet of the Apes franchise as well, just aside. But you can do the mocap, you can do the special effects. Give us a load of Wookiees fighting the Empire on a planet.
Tayters?
Home planet.
I don't know. I never thought about it. Carry on going round. Come back.
Randy?
I would come up with a brand new character and introduce some new stuff. I mean, you definitely make use of the lore that's out there, but a new character and a new situation. And I mean, there's always conflict, and there's so much to draw from to where that conflict could go. And that's what I would do.
Okay, Amber?
I would try to draw in a younger audience, and I would do that with a trope that works universally and has for a very long time, and that is wizard school, except in this case, Jedi school. So we are in the Jedi Academy. This is before Order 66. We are following a bunch of young Jedis who are struggling to suppress their hormones because that is strictly against, the Jedi code to let your emotions, rule you. So I would like the idea of them, trying to keep themselves tempered. And that's the major conflict, is that they are struggling against their own this. So that's like the underlying conflict. And then externally, you've got all the political stuff going on, and maybe some of them have parents or people who they know who are involved in the political battles going on. And then your big finale for the season is Order 66, and they are scattered. Some of them die, some of them live, but it's over.
Nice. See, I'd go.
Just describe that. They've done a comic at the moment called The Strange Academy, and it's Doctor Strange, but all the magician, and it's like Harry Potter, but on acid.
Nice.
And it is the bollocks. And I don't mean it's like violent and stuff like that, but it is as if Harry Potter was a bit,
grittier.
I'm gonna use that word, grounded.
Okay.
Magicians, but yeah, grittier is a better description.
Where were you going then, Liz?
So I'd go Old Republic, Jedi versus Sith, ending in the Sith coming up with the Order 2 is what I'd come up with. I'd go straight to that.
Back to Darth Bane.
Yeah, Darth Bane era. I'll go back to that. But my point is, and Tayters will come back to you in a sec, my point is, all the ideas we've just thrown out there are 100 times better than what they've given us with these 3 movie announcements. So Tayters, what are you thinking?
No, I do think going back a little bit further. Yeah. I know I've said before about the young Yoda, which I'm really intrigued by that, but that aside, back further.
Was that IG2?
The
young Yoda, was that IG2 or 3?
No IGs, just Yoda. But no, I don't know, maybe back further, maybe not quite 25,000 years, but yes, the Old Republic stuff is good.
Yeah, and that can be where all the new characters come from to the Old Republic. Yeah, that's where you can keep it a bit fresher, but give it a little.
And to be fair, combine all those ideas. Go Old Republic, bring in the new characters that Randy's talking about. Talk about the young Jedi that Amber's talking about, but have that in the landscape of the Sith are dying out, and it comes to the Order 2.
Hold on, what happened to my Wookiees?
And have some Wookiee Jedi.
Everyone's idea then.
And have some Wookiee Jedi. And have some Wookiee Jedi as well.
Right, you didn't like my idea. It's my God. No, that's it now. No,
that sounds good.
2 weeks.
Don't get me wrong. As a standalone, Wookiees would be awesome. I'd love that. That'd be wicked. That'd be wicked.
They'd make it too goofy. They'd make it far too. It would be the Ewok adventures, like all over again.
Yeah, the Wookiee. Yeah,
the
Wookiee adventures.
Every one of our ideas, they would make stupid because that's what.
Yeah.
But guys, on that note, we've really rambled on.
We have gone quite a while.
My goodness, we're approaching the 3rd hour.
Yeah, we're just going to tick over into the 3-hour mark, so I'm going to call it, man.
No questions this week, then.
Going to call. Oh, I forgot.
I forgot. Yeah.
No worry. Questions next time because they're piling up.
Yeah.
What, you want to do questions now?
No. We leave them. We leave.
Do you want to ramble on for another 3 hours?
We leave them till next time.
Because we need questions, because 3 hours ain't enough, Tayters, is it?
I was establishing that more for everyone else.
I can ask you some questions if you want.
You ask me plenty of questions.
Look, on that note,
yeah.
guys, adios.
Adios.
As
See you
always,
later.
as always, thanks a lot, and good luck with the new channels, guys. You too.
Thank you.
Definitely.
You.
Yeah, good, nice one.
Adios.
See you all soon.
Bye-bye.
So, but